Live, 1, 2, 3.
You are about to opt in to Monerotopia, a show for the Monero community where all are welcome to join. From noob to maxi, no matter what bags you hold. Just sit back and relax to the sweet sounds of Monero's latest progress. Or if you're feeling inspired, join us on stage. Remember, the only thing that can stop Monero is a false belief that it can be stopped. And if you want to win the revolution faster, we recommend you remove your XMR from all custodial exchanges immediately. Warning, voting accidents are common around here. Don't forget to properly secure your private keys. Monerotopia starts now.
Aloha, my friends.
All right.
Look at that.
Good morning.
Hello.
Aloha. I'm the special guest, the pre-special guest.
There we go. 11 o'clock, 11:06. Not too much of a difference.
Not too bad.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we had some last minute emergencies pop up over here, things that I gotta attend to. So I'm on the road right now. Literally just jumped in the car. But Sunita is holding it down back at the studio. And we have Shortwave today that's going to be our co-host. No Tux today. So we figure it out. We make it happen no matter what, guys. Monerotopia coming at you every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern.
Doug doesn't stop.
I don't care what we need to do.
Rain,
All right.
snow, shine, whatever.
Yeah, the guy really doesn't stop.
The show
He's
must go
laughing,
on.
but it's reality. The guy
Yeah.
will. The show must go on.
If you've only seen behind the scenes, right, Sunita?
Yeah, it's quite.
So
intense.
yeah, we got a good show today. Actually, no price report today, unfortunately, which is kind of a first in a long time for Bawdy. So super big thank you to Bawdy for how amazingly consistent he has been
Yeah.
for the show. But today he had some kind of prior obligation. So yeah, no worries on that, Bawdy, man. We greatly appreciate all your contributions. We have a special. Who's a special guest? What's his name?
UrbanHacker. UrbanHacker.
We have
Yeah.
UrbanHacker coming on. He's going to be talking about why it's essential for everybody to run a Tor node, essentially. So that should be an interesting talk. I've been texting with him, very interesting dude, and it looks like he's working on things to help grow XMRBazaar adoption as well. He's trying to onboard farmers to XMRBazaar. Very interesting guy, excited to talk to him, trying to get him to potentially come down to Monerotopia conference as well. Sunita, maybe this is a good segue to give it to shill
yes.
Monerotopia for a second.
Yes, of course. Here you go. I'm right there.
And
So, yeah, if you haven't bought-
before we do that, let's tell everybody to retweet, share. Let's get a bunch of
Yeah,
people
let's
in here,
like
guys.
the videos. Let's retweet on Twitter, and all the other social media platforms that we're on.
We had
We're on Twitch.
We had a good live audience the other day when I had Francisco on for the live show where we went over the chain analysis leak video.
That
We
was
had
a good show.
Yeah,
Yeah, everyone
was-
really liked it.
That was a marathon episode. Amazing. We thoroughly went through the chain
So you-
analysis video.
So
but
if
yeah,
you haven't
Sunita-
watched it yet, watch it.
Sunita, take it away. Shill the conference. Tell all the beautiful people what's going to be happening down in Mexico
The
City.
beautiful people. Beautiful. Hello, beautiful people. So if you haven't bought your tickets yet, please do so now because the prices will go up in about probably a week. Once again, it's in Mexico City from November 14th to the 17th. It's a 4-day amazing conference. Last year we had it for like 2 days and a half. This year we ended up doing it for 4 because people loved it so much. Again, if you never checked out last year's conference, we have like a little video that we made so you could see like kind of what went on and all that fun stuff right here on the website. Check that out. We have, again, tickets. These are the early bird ticket prices. You have 9 days, 12 hours, 49 minutes, and 52 seconds to get them at that price because the prices are going up. General admin is $89. Locals, Monerotopia locals. It could be, Mexico City or basically around the area. You can get the tickets for 25, and then the VIP tickets are 249 right now, which, you know, it gives you access to the VIP dinner where you can talk to all, you know, the attendees, the speakers, the sponsors. So it's a good time. We had an awesome time last year.
The only thing is I really think that you should have your prices set in Monero for your Monerotopia tickets.
Yeah, well, we let people, that you can pay in Monero, but there are people that want to keep their Monero, and so they pay in other forms. So, you know, we kind of leave it out there for people to decide.
We obviously the vast majority of tickets sold, especially in-person tickets sold, are sold with Monero. Whatever, like 98% of all tickets. But then we do get a lot of ticket sales for the virtual conference, and a lot of people use like PayPal and stuff like that. I know, but we want to give people access, right? So, you know, we could, you know, you gotta, it's cost benefit analysis here, right? So
I mean like doing denominations in Monero instead of dollars. So instead of saying $89, be like 0.6 Monero.
We tried that the first year, but it got a little crazy.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's right.
You know, as we live it, right? So we have to pay our bills and whatnot. So we do currently, Monero is not yet truly technically a stable coin. It's stable than most cryptos, but
I have a solution to that. We can talk offline.
Okay, well, tell us now.
Cool.
Tell us now. Is it go ahead? What's the solution?
Average it. So instead of saying like whatever the current Monero price is, average it out over time. So like right now, for example, the average is 152. So some people will pay a little bit more, some people will pay a little bit less, but overall it will average out to what you need it to be.
Yeah, but you're saying set the price in Monero, correct?
Correct. Set the price in the average Monero. So instead of saying like, okay, we're going to let the price fluctuate like we do now with the dollars, set the price in Monero so that you get what you need to get, and it would be averaged out instead of
yeah, I don't know.
Like,
maybe next year, shortwave. Like,
we'll talk about it.
It might confuse people right now.
Yeah. Like, you know, the Monero community has this weird way of doing things to such an extreme that they make it difficult for people to participate in the community. We're kind of that bridge of, you know, we're the normie bridge to the normie world.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
And so you know,
we're middle ground.
The normies need a bridge. They need a way of getting to this island called Monerotopia. They need to be able to at least find their way here. So we're trying to make that as easily as possible for them. And part of that is not confusing them, and making things like it's not confusing for anybody who's already a Monero person, but you know, for those that we're trying to introduce to all this stuff, we try to keep it as simple as possible. So yeah, this year definitely we'll keep the price probably just listed in fiat. We keep the tickets super low price compared to any other conference. Plus the content. I mean, the content is amazing. This isn't like some shill fest where you just come and hear about how, you know, the price of Bitcoin is going to be going up forever and ever and ever, and people just repeating memes. We actually get down and dirty. All the talks are you know, highly technical. We have the Monero devs there. We have devs from a bunch of other privacy tech projects. And then we have like liberty, freedom fighter oriented talks. I guess those aren't super technical, but those are more kind of philosophical in nature, talking about why any of this stuff matters in the first place, right? So bringing us back to our crypto anarchist cypherpunk ideals, reminding people what the fight is all about, why we're even building this technology to begin with, and why we need to continue to essentially design it in a way where it always ceases to be co-opted by the powers that be. So those are kind of like those are the main themes, and it's all about getting the people down there. We are raising the ticket prices, not so much as you know, a way for us to make more money, but as a punishment so that we can get you guys to buy tickets. So we'll continue to raise it just so we could kind of crack the whip a little bit just to get more and more people to buy their tickets now, because the more people that buy it sooner, the bigger the conference gets and the more momentum we get. So if you want to help in any way, buy a ticket, come on down. And if the cost is an issue, we'll give you a free ticket if you're looking to come down and for the right reasons. If it's the $89 that's stopping you, we'll make it work. We have a super low priced local ticket that is nominally priced. We wanted to keep it as low as possible, and that's really so locals can participate.
Oh, I think we lost him.
I think we did.
Totally
about
fine.
this stuff at all.
Oh, there he goes.
Oh, there he goes. You came back.
Okay.
We
At
lost
least
you
got-
for a second. Yeah.
Anyway,
It's
buy a
fine.
ticket.
Buy your tickets today. That's basically what he's trying to say. With that being said, I'll continue.
Juan.
To tell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doug, can you hear me?
I'm breaking up.
Yeah, you're breaking up. So I guess hold off for a second.
Okay. Sorry about that.
It's okay. So yeah, well, what's new this year? The Copa Monero game. We're going to be streaming the finale live. I think that's Sunday or Saturday. At Monerotopia. So that should be really, really exciting. We're up to the semifinals now. If you go to copamonero.com, you can go check out who made it. Who are the 4 teams that made it to the semifinals? And those games will be streaming next month sometime. And then again, hackathon, we're working on that. We're close to kind of announcing the what's about the hackathon soon. So hopefully we can chat more about it next week. Speakers, I'm sure Doug has talked about all these speakers. New ones that we've added are Pierre, John Murphy of Monero, Ruben Yap, and Rafael Laverde is going to be amongst all these amazing speakers. I think.
We added.
Yeah. Then
who else did we add? Oh, we added the Spanish speakers.
Yeah, the Spanish speakers, which I think you talked about last week, but we'll probably be adding more. We'll have a Spanish talk stage, which should be exciting with Andres and Escuelita Bitcoin. And what else? Yeah, I think you've kind of gone through all this. Obviously, thank you to our amazing main stage sponsor, Cake Wallet, and Bitmain, still in the works, but they should be one of our main stage sponsors. But, so far, Cake is our main stage sponsor. We love Cake Wallet, as you all know. And then our privacy tech projects, thank you so much. I think Doug talked about all of them. The recent one was Squad Swap, but thank you to all these privacy tech projects. We have our workshop professors. We're probably doing a Monero 101 in English and then a Monero 101 in Spanish for those Spanish speaking attendees, which we hope we'll get a lot. And we'll probably be adding more to these. Adoption Alley, thank you guys for being a part of it. We have new ones. Xmrchat, Havino Redo, and Rito, Havino Rito, and Swap swapix.io. And we have new media partners, Monero Moon and Alex Anarco. And performers will be adding new ones shortly. And again, if you are looking to be a sponsor, vendor, media, or just help us out, volunteer, please reach out. The more the merrier. We're looking for help. You'll get a free general admission ticket if you want to help out.
And that's monerotopia@protonmail.com.
Exactly, right here. And I think that's really it. Anything else you want to say, Doug, regarding the conference?
No, I think obviously we're really zoomed in on it right now. We have a lot of other projects we're juggling, but we're focusing on the conference right now because it's going to come up really fast. So we have a lot of good momentum. We're doing fantastic with the sponsors and speakers. And yeah, it's so far much bigger and better than ever right now in terms of participation from speakers, sponsors, whatnot. But we need to make sure we get the attendees down there. So guys, buy your tickets. That's what's going to make this really, really amazing. So all the content is there. There's going to be amazing people to talk to, not just the Monero devs, but you'll be talking to the Xano devs, Basic Swap, Firo, DarkFi, Amir Taki, those folks. So it's going to be a fantastic crowd in terms of speakers and sponsors, but we just want to get a big crowd in terms of actual attendees, and that's where you guys come in. So we can only do so much with that. That requires the community to take action on their side. Like we've done our part, guys. We've set the stage, we've set the table. Everybody's invited over now for a feast to join us, but that's up to you guys. You have to make that part happen. So grab your tickets to Mexico City. We purposely doing this in Mexico City again because it's so accessible globally and very, very cheap and affordable. Once you get there, you can get an Airbnb for as little as like $30 a night, especially if you team up with other people and you guys get like two bedrooms or whatever. There's some really good Airbnb deals in the area, and tons of like hotels too that are very cheap, that are all in walking distance of the venue. It's a very safe area of Mexico City, the Roma district. It's not super highly trafficked, and it's a clean area relative to the rest of Mexico City. It's actually a beautiful place. Knock on wood, always very, very good weather there for the most part. So yeah, guys, we did our part. Now do yours. Get a ticket, come on down, and spread the word. Tell others. Bring your friends. Bring fam. Bring some crypto noobs down there. Get them on the right track. Introduce them to crypto in the right way. Anybody who comes down there is going to walk away learning the most important things you could possibly learn with regards to crypto, because you're going to be learning about essentially the tool that does it the best, Monero.
Great spiel. So if you haven't done so yet, please buy your tickets today.
Alrighty.
And alrighty. And with that, I guess once again, if don't forget to like and share this episode. Make sure to spread the Monero word, basically. Right now, we're up to 99 live viewers. Wow, exciting.
All right.
100. Love seeing Doug and Shortwave.
We gotta tell people send your super chats, guys. XMR.
Oh yeah, send your super chats.
XMRchat.com/Monerotalk. Go to that URL. XMRchat.com/Monerotalk, and you can very easily send us a super chat live using Monero.
Oh, he broke up. Okay, so I guess let's move on to maybe the news segment. What do you think, Shortwave? Right?
Yeah, I think so. We can move on to the news, and then if you guys have any super chats, just send them, and we will get to them.
Okay, awesome. All right, let's play the news segment with Mr. Choney.
The Monerotopia Weekly News segment is sponsored by WizardSwap.io, a non-custodial cryptocurrency exchange.
Nice. Oh.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, how's it going?
Happy weekend.
Happy weekend. All is well?
Yeah, all is good. So I'm going to watch the YouTube chat as well. So if you guys have any questions throughout the news section, you can go ahead. I see a couple people saying hello, HBS, aloha, Kevin, hello. So everybody, hello. Okay, so let's get into the news section. First thing we talked about.
Wait, hold on. I see for some. Hold on a second. Stop sharing. Do you have the Monerotopia website on?
Yeah, I was gonna show my code.
Oh, okay. I was like, I'm confused because I just had that. Okay, cool. All right, take it away.
I know, I saw. Yeah, so before we get into the news section, so they just talked about a conference, and then in case you decided to go ahead and buy the ticket. Before you do, just use my code because you're gonna get a discount. So you go to the website, and I recommend getting the VIP. You have 9 days before tickets go up a little bit. So if you want to get early bird tickets, you get 9 days. VIP ticket is just awesome. You get to hang out at dinner and talk to everybody. I mean, you get to talk to them anyway, but you just get a lot more, like the dinner swag. So if you do decide to get this one, or it applies to any other ticket, you add to cart, and then you apply the code Tony24, and then you're gonna get a discount. I think there's a couple other codes. I think Tux has a code. There's the Monerotopia code, which I'm not sure which one it is. I know mine.
I know Havino has a code.
Havino, I think maybe Body has a code. But so you can use either one. But make sure to use the code. You get a little discount to your ticket. Also, like shortwave, if you if you like to add anything on the news, go ahead, man. So
go ahead.
Yeah, so it's kind of fun. It's interactive. Okay, so first thing we're gonna discuss. Somebody posted on the Monero subreddit. Is this real guy? He posted a screenshot of Cointelegraph, and they were talking about chain analysis. It's just doing its job in quotations, which could make Monero more secure. Basically talked about chain analysis essentially, unquote, breaking Monero, and he was just wondering if that's real. But then Monero commented, TLDR, too long, didn't read, no. From Tux Pizza on Twitter, just to sum it up, Monero is not broken, traceable, honeypot, whatever. This is important to know. Chain analysis is using spy nodes to correlate IPs to users' transactions and attempting to corroborate it with other info like IPs from other parties to attempt to trace where funds have gone, as well as using tools to make guesses on eliminating decoys. So if you're concerned about it, this is what's happening. But you should run your own code, essentially, and the problem is solved. Adding on top of this, let's go to this post on X by XMRchats. So he said, we got infiltrated, delete node.moneroworld.com now. So somebody else posted on X, why kick wallet Vic, why? And now deleted, and the article says, and now deleted an actively censored training video from Chain Analysis, a blockchain analysis company, revealed Monero RPC logs, seemingly from a popular public Monero node called node.moneroworld.com. Many wallets like Kick Wallet and Monero included in their list of default public nodes. So, and people commented with thanks, and then I just deleted this node from Cake Wallet. So somebody else says the problem isn't directly Monero World. Chain Analysis did DNet hijacking to spoof the server for redirecting users to honeypots. Then XMRchats responded with Monero World is honeypot, and there should be a thorough investigation into how they were able to infiltrate to be considered a trusted node of the community. Somebody else said the just run your nodes folks missed the point. Most users had no idea. They were told their transactions are private. Privacy that is technically possible but not achieved by the majority of the users is not no privacy at all. Just like Telegram encryption, you got scammed. XMRchats replied, "Lol, yes, it's bad, but not as bad as you'd like to make it out to be. The amounts and addresses are still fully encrypted, so if you don't end your write in the CX, there's not much they can do unless you use your clear IP." Yeah, so if you do see node.moneroworld.com, probably make sure that you don't use it, to delete it, and run your own node. So a new posting on XMRBazaar. It's a cleaning service. It's titled Atomic Swab Squad Dirt Mining Cleaning Services. Location is in New York. Form of payment, Monero direct payment. And Doug wrote on X, "Do I take the bait and hire the feds to come clean my home? I should make them come."
See, that one made me laugh when I saw it. I'm like, "Ooh, that's funny," because I read their description. I'm like, "Oh, that's really good." And my thought was, maybe those guys should contact the grocery store in Astoria, because if that grocery store needs cleaning and they hire an external service to do it, well, there's an option to get some Monero.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah, and what's that's actually that's a good idea. And then if the store actually, they need cleaning, obviously, but unless the guy does it, he can hire these people and he can use the Monero that people used for the groceries. That's
exactly.
a good idea. Yeah, so that's a good idea. But yeah, he said I should have them come clean during a Monerotopia live stream. At least I'll have everyone watching. Honestly, though, gotta pinch myself when I see listings like this on XMRBazaar, especially in New York City, where we're witnessing the dawn of a global Monero circular economy. Use it and we win. Let's go on XMRBazaar just for a little bit. Yeah, but that's cool. Whether it's the Fed or not, if you need cleaning services, then you can go on XMRBazaar in this listing, and you can hire these people if you're in New York City. They wrote, "I retired of living in a messy apartment that looks like a failed crypto mining operation. You want your home to shine brighter than the future of centralized finance? Look no further. The Atomic Swap Squad is here to scrub away your worries, except in Monero." Cool. So that's a cool listing. And just to go on XMRBazaar, take a look a little bit. There's a lot of it's been growing quite a bit. It's cool. You have the XMR price at the top. You're wondering how much it is. And let's go to automobile. People have been posting from services from cleaning to cooking things for you, selling you foods from all over the world too. You can buy big stuff like automobiles, and so somebody's selling their Mitsubishi Outlander for Monero. Somebody is offering car detailing, and that's cool. Car batteries and accessories. So there's all kinds of listings on XMRBazaar. There's jobs, books. Let's see what books actually people have posted. Is nobody selling 1984? That should be a book that the Adam and Eve story. So The Hobbit, African Artists, The Real Anthony Fauci, Robert F. Kennedy, Everything You Need to Know by what's his name? David Icke. Okay, no, that's cool. I bet there should be 1984 somewhere on XMRBazaar under this section. Yeah, and there's a lot of posts, and each section is like a couple pages. So if you want to buy something using your Monero, if you want to sell something, you can go to XMRBazaar and you can do so. You can even buy US gift cards, NVIDIA graphics card, electrical support. Yeah, so a lot of stuff. Moving on. So also, guys, make sure to like and share. That helps us a lot. Now, I want to discuss the presidential debate between Trump and Harris. I think it's very important because it really does affect. I've seen comments of people saying how foreigners are watching this like it's comedy. I don't think it's comedy. And I'm saying this as a European that has been living in the US for some time, and it does affect the whole world, like whatever happens in the US. We've seen the Ukraine war happening because of the Biden administration and a lot of bad things. So the US politics, whether you like it or not, it's a sad comedy. Fairly reasonable investor said, yes, it's a sad comedy. So, but if you really take a look, 2008, where did it start? America. Like they are the culprit of reverberating in the whole world. So whatever happens here, it's going to go into the whole world. So it's really, really important who's going to become president. Do we want Kamala? And then we're going to see 4 years of darkness, essentially. But then I guess it's going to be so bad that people have to wake up. But in the same time, we'll be placed into such a system that'll be hard to escape from, especially with technology. We're talking 4 years. Now it's 2024. From 2024 to 2028, it's going to be a lot of technological change with AI and such like that, things like that. So in 4 years, they can do a lot more damage than they used to be able to, just because of technology and they can enslave you much better now. So I recommend that you watch it. I watched the whole thing live. I thought that the moderators didn't ask the harsh questions that they should have to Kumela. Somebody said, do we want Secretary Booty Cheeks? Do we want 4 years of a president who thinks central banking is great, or 4 years of different president who thinks central banking is great? Huh. Right. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, so I mean, not that I'm a Trump fan, but it's just kind of choosing the lesser evil. Plus, it's interesting that he partnered with Robert F. Kennedy, and Elon essentially is going to jump board. But then you also have to think about, and this all does, we're talking about politics, but it does relate to Monero. I mean, we're using Monero because politics and all they're doing to the economy forced us to have created Monero. So it's important to talk about this stuff. Let's just watch a little bit. Let's just watch this part of the video, and then we'll move on. And then we'll discuss this a little bit more. And if you guys have anything to add in the YouTube comments, Trump is the lesser of the two evils, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I would say so. Again, I'm not. Nobody should be like a maximalist in any direction. Whether you're a Bitcoin maximalist or a Trump or Harris maximalist, I don't encourage that for sure. Just who's the lesser evil. But also, when you think about their relationship to, when somebody said, sorry, comments coming in, Watchman privacy, make your voice heard, don't vote. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, essentially, if nobody voted, but people are going to vote. So then I guess you need to put your vote towards the lesser evil that you believe in. Because if you don't vote, then that's not, I don't know. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. I'm not quite sure. But I have thought about that. Of the issues they talk about, the two most important ones are war and crypto. Trump is better on both of those. Yes, especially when it comes to war. So I do, and actually the part that which we're going to watch right now, it's about her saying that the world leaders think Trump, they just think badly of Trump and they're just laughing at him, essentially, which I'm no expert. I've read a couple books, watched some interviews, but I mean, I would say that that's not true. And I would think that I would much more see him shake hands with Putin, Kim Jong-un, Xi Jinping than her, and actually, make a deal and make sure that they don't just run the world and do whatever they want. So we do need a strong leader that, not that they fear, but they know that they shouldn't really mess with. And we've seen Putin talking about nuclear wars in the past, and that if anybody steps into what they're doing, like any European country, then, or NATO, whoever, they're going to use nuclear weapons, and you won't even be able to blink because everything will just be destroyed. They have a lot of nuclear weapons. They're really powerful people. So it's really important who is going to be the future president. Let's just watch this part.
Again, divide and distract from the reality, which is, it is very well known that Donald Trump is weak and wrong on national security and foreign policy. It is well known that he admires dictators, wants to be a dictator on day one, according to himself. It is well known that he said of Putin that he can do whatever the hell he wants and go into Ukraine. It is well known that he said when Russia went into Ukraine, it was brilliant. It is well known he exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un. And it is absolutely well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting.
We lost audio.
Oh, have we? At what point were you able to hear a little bit, or you just lost it previously?
Yeah, we heard that he wrote love letters to Kim Jong-un, and that was about it.
Okay. Well, I mean, we can stop. It's okay. I just wanted to play that part. Also, just to interrupt a little bit, John Doe said YouTube seems to have hidden my chat. But basically, Monero World isn't a node, nor is the owner malicious. It's a domain which points to other nodes by region, any of which could have been compromised. Thanks, John, though. Yeah, but coming back to this, so I haven't heard of anything that could confirm her claims. And actually, there's a video of Putin, of him endorsing, essentially, in a way, Kamala, but he was very, I think he was very sarcastic when he was talking about Kamala, because then he has 4 more years of doing whatever he wants, essentially. So I don't know where she got those claims from of these leaders, eagerly waiting for Trump to get back, just so that they can do whatever they want, and that they're just laughing about him and all these love letters and whatever she claimed. I think it's quite the opposite. Everybody laughs at her because, one, she can't talk really, and to be honest, the way she talks and the way she presents herself is quite irritating. Just watching her explaining stuff and things of that nature. John Doe said, or maybe the Monero World owner is malicious. Who knows? But this is a more likely explanation. Thanks, John. Yeah, so it was a lot of stuff in this debate. I wish they touched upon other more specific topics about what their administration have been doing for the past couple of years, the Biden administration. But the big question that Trump asked is, what have they done so far, and why are they not, like, all these things that they are saying that they're going to do, why they're not doing it now? They have the power now for the next couple of months. They can literally do it now. Like, the next day after the debate, they can, but just empty promises. And as we have seen, she is she wants a lot of communistic. She has a lot of communistic ideals about the future that she wants to implement. I mean, price gouging. Like, she wants to set fixed prices for things, which hasn't worked in the past. Look at communist countries. Then stuff like taxing unrealized gains. So that's not a huge one. Basically, you look at the assets that you haven't sold, like your house, whatever, at the end of the year, and pay taxes on it. Quite crazy. Okay, it's time to move on, guys. We still have quite a bit of stuff, but this is still pertaining to the debate. And again, we're only talking about politics, maybe more sometimes more than Monero specific news, just because it does affect the whole system, and it's just to show how crazy the whole political game is in our economy, and that we're very fortunate to have Monero, and that's why it came about. And with time, it's only going to become more of a need and more of an amazing thing. It's like, imagine having Monero in 1984. Like, if imagine yourself in that book by George Orwell, and you have this thing called Monero. Monero. I mean, what kind of? That's an amazing freedom. But this is a footage released showing President Biden and Kamala Harris being met with silence when they enter a room full of firefighters. Donald Trump walked in behind them and was met with standing ovation. So let's watch this a little bit.
Was there audio with that? Because we didn't hear it if there was.
Oh, no, not really. They're just like people talking, but not really. Can you hear this?
Just making sure.
Nothing much, but you should be able to hear this when he walks in. So let's hear this. Are you able to hear anything?
Nope.
Really?
Really?
Oh, wait. Sorry. Okay.
You forgot to press the button, didn't you?
Oh my God. No, I forgot to share that, because now I shared tab by tab, and that's how I was able to. Okay, there we go.
There's the audio. Okay.
So walking in, they're just looking at them, and they're looking at them back, and she's smiling. He's confused. But then Trump walks in, and again, I'm no Trumpist, but just to kind of display what that population likes. Trump walking in, ovation, they're talking, laughing. So, yeah, just different. Then, so during the debate, which I'm not sure what to say about it, but Trump said that Joe hates Kamala, and just a couple days later, a firefighter just gave Biden a Trump hat, which he wore, actually. So that's quite interesting. So let's see this moment, historic moment. He's smiling, he's happy. The guy said he's proud of him now for wearing the Trump hat. So yeah, he seemed happy with that hat. So yeah, that was quite interesting. This is not to back the claim that he hates Kamala or anything, but it's just quite interesting. I don't know why he did that, but he probably doesn't know either. Quickly. Oh no, I didn't. I need to. I'm sorry, I didn't share the tab. Okay, guys, I'm just gonna show you this one part. There we go. So you guys can see it. I keep forgetting to share the next tab. I'm sorry. Now, moving on. So he said that in Ohio and certain states, people like the immigrants, they're eating the cats, the dogs. Somebody made a song about it. We're not going to play the whole thing. You can watch it by yourself, but we'll just play a little bit.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
It's actually pretty good. It's kind of funny. Then let's talk about World Liberty Finance. Eric Trump said, "Crypto is the future. I'm all in." And this is Donald Trump. He posted this on September 12th. So let's watch this.
Join me live on Twitter Spaces at 8 p.m. this September 16th for the launch of World Liberty Financial. We're embracing the future with crypto and leaving the slow and outdated big banks behind.
Okay, September 16th. So we're going to have to tune in to see what this is about and talk about it on the next news section. World Liberty Fi. That's interesting. Bureau of Scans, Fate tokens, and airdrops. So okay, we're not live yet. Okay. That's interesting. So I guess we'll hear more about it on September 16th. Okay. I wonder when he's going to endorse Monero. Hopefully he's going to mention it one day. If not, it's kind of sketchy. Now let's talk about more politics. This one, it's crazy. So essentially, let's go back. Sweden gives you $35,000 for free to move back to your home country. This will incentivize more fake refugees to come to Sweden, hang out for a year or two on their welfare system, that then apply for the free $35,000 to move back to their home country. They said a so-called remigration check is viewed as a win-win, as migrants who don't feel at home in Sweden will be able to reestablish themselves in their home countries, while the Swedish welfare system is spared decades of expenses. Okay, Swedes believe that the remigration check will be a particularly interesting option for larger families who want to move back home together to buy a house or some land. A family of four could afford a fairly luxurious house back in many parts of Africa or the Middle East with a combined budget of USD 140,000 from their remigration checks. That's a lot of money, and it's just going to incentivize people from Africa in these countries to just come to Europe, come to Sweden, hang out, get some free money, and go back. So Mr. Anderson said, "What the fuck? Yeah, what the fuck?" I mean, not to. Just these people tend to be less educated, and they're causing a lot of trouble. I have nothing against anybody from anywhere, but when you're causing a problem and you tend to be less educated, that's a problem. So, yay, more immigrants, which I have no problem with, but with this, they're just going to come in, hang out, ruin the country in Europe, and just leave back with a lot of money. Hell, I mean, just get your whole family and move there. You're going to get a lot of money and move back to your home country. Mr. Anderson said, "Well, Sweden be like, there's so much money falling out of my pocket. Would someone please take some of my money?" It's not bad. You live for 1-2 years. You barely make $100 per month in your country. You get 35,000 to go back. That's good. So that's more weaponized immigration. This is ludicrous. Yeah, it's cheaper to pay them to leave than it is to support them forever. God, seriously? How? That's crazy. What a hustle. Bleeding the West dry, essentially. Yeah, so I don't think that's a great idea at all. But yeah, I guess that's what they want to do. Just ruin Europe and their country. Let's watch this video. So Josh Sweetheart posted on X, "Sadly, much of crypto has lost its cypherpunk ethos, seeking to play by rules set by powers behind elevated desks. Here, he is normalizing the violation of the Fourth Amendment, and the crypto industry is quick to assert compliance. Privacy should be protected, not vilified." And yeah, 99% of the cryptos in the space are just accumulating people's money, pumping, dumping it, and doing nothing, really. Just losing people's money and time. Well, some people make money off of them, which good for you. But I'll take that money and put it into Monero and add more liquidity. That's what I would do. Yeah, but that has been happening for a long time. Bitcoin lost its cypherpunk ethos a long time ago. And we have an interesting video coming up on that next. So let's watch this video. It's 2 minutes and 51 seconds, but it's interesting, guys. So let's take a look. Miguel66, Tony, you need to tidy up your news, make it a bit faster, less pauses, comments. We can talk afterwards. Yeah, just like with today, since Doug is doing some stuff, I'm just lengthening it a little bit, but still adding some valuable information. I hope. Usually, yeah, I try to keep it a bit more brief, and then we can talk afterwards. So that's why we're doing it more this way today. But let's watch this video.
On these things, I've looked at the mathematics behind there. I program blockchain, and by the way, Ms. Tony, I appreciate your efforts to educate Congress on this, which is a challenge. And if you ever would like to learn how to program blockchain, I would be happy to teach you.
Lost audio again.
Really? This time I have no idea why. Like you couldn't hear anything at all?
No, we heard the first part talking about programming blockchains, and then it just died for some reason.
What? Okay, thanks for letting me know. What about now?
Is a challenge, and if you ever would like
There
to
it is.
learn how to program blockchain, I would be happy to teach you. If you go next and say, how do you implement identification and banning of bad actors in an anonymous self-hosted situation?
Thank you so much for your question, Congressman. I think there are three primary ways that it happens today. First, there's an organization called the Security Alliance, which is an organic group that monitors and works in public-private partnership with law enforcement to watch for.
And then it died again. Something is up with your system there, Tony. You might have to work that out.
Oh, it died again? Okay.
Yeah, because we still, we just lose the audio. I don't know if the video is stopping playing because I'm not looking at it, but the audio definitely does stop.
Oh, okay. What if I go through, I have this one and one more video. What if I go through the stuff that are just text, and then can you share this and play it?
Is Sunita still around? Maybe she can, because I can't. That's for sure.
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think no, I don't think so.
Okay, then
Okay.
we might just have to skip. We might just have to skip the videos and put them in like the show notes or like links or whatever, so that people can look at them after the show, because that's not working right.
I'm here. Do you need assistance?
Yeah. Tony has some videos that aren't playing right on his end. The audio stops like 20, 30 seconds in or something like that for some reason.
Okay, that's weird.
We were wondering if you could share them and see if it works on your end.
Yeah, you can send it to me in the private chat, and then I can play it.
Awesome. Secretary said maybe stop using Microsoft Windows. I actually don't use it anymore. I'm on Monero. I can
that's probably why.
Yeah, man, it's actually I got a new pair of headphones with microphones, so I should sound a lot better, but it's been such a headache to try to pair it. Yeah, Monero is not not easy.
Manjaro is good, but it's not super beginner friendly. I'm actually using Linux Mint personally, but go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I haven't used Mint. You are enabled. I don't think
you want to send me all the links quickly, just so I have them ready on my end, because we got to make sure I can play them.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put them in the private chat.
All right, let's see if this works for me.
Remember, guys, if you want to send us a super chat, you can do so with XMRchat at xmrchat.com and buy your Monerotopia tickets.
Ooh la la. Nice show.
Excuse me, xmrchat.com/Monerotalk. I forgot about that little part, and that's important.
Yes, that is important. Hold on, let me share my screen. Let me see. How do I do that? This was the video. Also share tab audio. Okay, so can you guys?
UrbanHacker said I can go to Sweden and causing zero trouble. Then after a while, I just want to go back to my country and get $35,000. I will not eat cats or dogs.
Oh goodness gracious! All right, so I'm going to play this. Let me know if you hear the audio.
These things, I've looked at the mathematics behind there. I program blockchain, and by the way, Ms. Tony, I appreciate your efforts to educate Congress on this, which is a challenge. And if you ever would like to learn how to program blockchain, I would be happy to teach you. If you go next and say, how do you implement identification and banning of bad actors in an anonymous self-hosted situation?
Thank you so much for your question, Congressman. I think there are three primary ways that it happens today. First, there's an organization called the Security Alliance, which is an organic group that monitors and works in public-private partnership with law enforcement to watch for hacks and engage in other types of activities.
But when you've identified a bad actor and the bad actor reappears with an anonymous self-hosted wallet, how do you identify the fact that you're a bad actor?
Law enforcement and blockchain analytics tools are actually able to trace a lot of this very transparently. And
a lot isn't enough. You need to be able to trace all of it, and that's, I don't believe, technically possible.
Our current system under the BSA is not 100%, but I think we should be aiming for that in the DeFi ecosystem, and there are a number of ways to handle that. I've actually made one such proposal in a paper that I co-authored, published in January, where we identify a new category called critical communications transmitters that will take on enhanced risk mitigation measures for financial integrity.
Okay. Now, when you've identified a bad actor, how does DeFi come together to say this is a bad actor, we're going to ban you? How do you even trace that person when people are operating multiple identities anonymously?
Sure, the critical communications transmitters will bring immediate reports to FinCEN. They won't look identical to SARS, but they'll have the type of information that will allow FinCEN and other law enforcement to be able to trace both the immediate wallet you're talking about and anything that emanates out from that as well.
But how do you trace all users of anonymous wallets? If one person's operating 12 anonymous wallets, how does that dealt with in this system?
I can say that through public-private partnerships and working with the FBI and DOJ on a number of these matters, they're actually able to trace wallets very quickly and much more quickly than the decades that it's taken to trace illicit funds in the traditional financial world.
Does that apply to the most deliberately anonymous financial products that have been made, which are made by design very hard. And this rapidly gets into classified stuff. And so if you can't talk about that, that's all right.
I can't talk too deeply about it, but I will say that funds from some of the worst actors are frozen today and unable to be moved, given the immediate identification that has happened both with industry and law enforcement working together on these issues.
Okay.
Yeah, so Watchman Privacy said, track all, good idea.
That's just another reason. That's just another reason to use Monero. Like, yeah, sure, these hacks and everything are bad, but the fact that they can be frozen by a centralized authority like that is not okay. And the fact that it's transparent is not okay.
Yeah. Kaushik B, these politicians started with tracking Monero, but just end up chasing their own tail. Essentially, yeah. Essentially. And as always, I'll take my chance with the criminals versus these politicians, right? Okay, so Peter Thiel.
And criminals, like, you know what criminals want. Like, criminals are pretty transparent about what they're after. If they're going to rob a store, they're going to point a gun at you and say, give me the money. Like, you know what they want, or give me your wallet or whatever, and you hand it over and they'll go away, if nothing else. With these politicians, you don't know what they want.
Right. Right. Okay, so now on this video, Peter Thiel, in case you don't know who Peter Thiel is and why we're watching him. So he's behind PayPal, co-founder, Palantir. And we've talked about PayPal in the past when if you posted something on social media that PayPal didn't like, well, they will, that was actually crazy. They would subtract $2,500 from your account per offense. You make 2, 5,000. You make 3, 7,500. So Whitney Webb posted on X, people who keep claiming Peter Thiel is a libertarian need to qualify that he's not a free market libertarian, but a cartel market libertarian. He openly hates free market competition and favors monopolies. Even worse, his monopolies, PayPal, Palantir. He built with free-letter agencies, the CIA, the worst part of the state. Thiel is about building monopolies controlled by a cartel. He is more of a Mussolini corporatist than a libertarian. This is also the guy that made Trump's VP who he is, and he openly doesn't like the free market, yet somehow free market conservatives don't care and call me a communist and are an Iranian agent for pointing it out. Okay. Yeah, so let's go ahead and watch a little bit of this video, but man, it's interesting.
The first theme is this idea that you know, and I sort of frame it as and this is probably the maybe the single overarching theme is that we think of capitalism and competition as synonyms, and I believe they are antonyms. I believe that a capitalist is someone who's in the business of accumulating capital. A world of perfect competition is a world where all the profits are competed away. So if you want to compete in a crazy way, you should open a restaurant. You will never make any money doing so. And at the other end of the spectrum, what I think everybody who is a founder or entrepreneur should aim to do is build a monopoly. And all the great companies that people have built are monopolies of one sort or another. And I sort of use Google as the extreme example on the other end, where it's an extremely capitalistic company. It makes enormous amounts of profits. And it's so capitalistic because it's had no competition since 2002, when it definitively distanced itself from Microsoft and Yahoo in the core search business.
Yeah, so essentially, he's pro monopolies. Now, there's a lot of discussion when Xmrchats for Monero Talk doesn't seem to work for me. Is there anyone facing the issue? Yeah, there's a couple people actually. We're gonna look into it. I'm not sure why it's not working.
Oh, that's fun. I was not aware of that. Okay.
Yeah.
What did they say is not working?
Xmrchat.
Oh, all right. We'll get right on.
I haven't tested it, but apparently XMRchat's not working properly right now.
No,
Sad face.
We will let Fiat Demise know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Also, thank you for trying to to tip us. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. We should, gonna try to get it back up as soon as we can. Yeah, so there's a lot of discussions when it comes to monopolies, but he's encouraging monopolies, essentially, and yeah, it's quite crazy what he's doing. Let's watch.
Which one do you want to play next?
Maybe let's actually skip this one and let's go to
the Whitney Webb. You mean?
Yeah, let's go to the one with the biggest banks. So it should be the last.
Which one is that one? The last one?
Yeah,
the last one you sent me was Whitney Webb.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That one? Okay.
Yeah.
So, here you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, so let's just discuss it a little bit, and then we'll just watch the video. We've been talking about this for quite some time, and Planto, one man wants to impose other, the same history from centuries ago. Not gonna work here, right? Whitney Webb wrote, and we've been talking about this for quite some time. And essentially, what's happening into the Bitcoin infrastructure is the biggest banks and cadre. I'm not sure how to say that with an English accent. Cadre, or spooky currency speculators have funded and now control most of the infrastructure underlying Bitcoin. We talked about this: energy, chips, ISPs, plus general crypto infrastructure. Plus, we talked in one episode that they stamp Bitcoin that they mined. So made in, and where it was made. USA, China, which opens a lot more discrimination, and it's just not feasible for a currency. And plus, like, made in could, if it's in a certain country, could be valued less than if it's made in whatever other country. Like, say, made in Switzerland is worth a lot more than made in China, whatever. With the openly stated goal of having it be only an asset you don't and can't spend, it's not good for spending, and essentially, as we all know, and yeah, the US government and the small elite faction hold most of the Bitcoin, and once their financial control grid is complete, inflate its price through the roof. As Catherine Austin Fitts has said of the elite's plans, once you steal everything, you want to move to a disinflationary system. These elites, who have a lot of ties to the Epstein network, hold so much Bitcoin collectively, and when currencies implode, which is something the currency speculators who back so much key crypto infrastructure have probably done in the past, pumping gold and silver instead would make too many other actors, including other governments like China and Russia, very wealthy, while pumping Bitcoin will make only a specific, largely US-based cabal very wealthy. When they collapse currencies, they will buy up everything they didn't manage to buy up during COVID and then sell their new and beyond a Bitcoin as a reserve asset. So quite a lot to unpack. Let's watch the video. It's 1 minute.
There are only 21 million Bitcoin. There never will be more Bitcoin. When people want to acquire something, it has to go up in price, just like when an artist dies, right? People pay $3 million for some spray paint on bricks in a place in London because Banksy says he did it, right? So don't give me a story about there's no value to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is valuable because people believe it's valuable. That's the only reason the dollar has value. It's because everybody in this room thinks the dollar has value. Bitcoin as an asset class is the perfect asset. It's hard money. And that's something I believe you'll see. Countries hold Bitcoin. You'll see more and more companies like Mara, like MicroStrategy, like lots of other companies hold Bitcoin. You'll see financial institutions hold Bitcoin. And as soon as the banks in the US are able to custody and collateralize Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin will explode.
Well said.
Yeah. So yeah, right. Kevin said that's a nice pitch, right? So essentially, the Bitcoin is good because people believe in it. That's why it works, and it's just belief. And we have to use the US dollar or the euro. It doesn't mean that we believe in it or that we want it. We're just forced to use it. Before 1971, I think it used to be backed by gold. Used to be. So it wasn't just monopoly. Then they just decorrelated themselves, and now it's monopoly. They can just print as they do as much as they want. Before they couldn't because it's tied to a certain amount of physical gold, and we haven't reached the point of alchemy where we can produce as much gold as possible, because that's going to be a problem. But so then Bitcoin is just...
the key thing there too is also saying as soon as banks can collateralize it, it will skyrocket in price.
Right.
That's that's also at the moment when Bitcoin basically has been fiatized, when all Bitcoin is just held by large institutions, when 99% of all Bitcoin is held by large institutions, and basically nobody's holding their Bitcoin anymore. Effectively, you fiatize Bitcoin at that point.
Right. Yeah. So I'm not sure how people don't see this in Bitcoin, and they're still maximalists, but hopefully one day they will. But yeah, there's a lot of issues when it comes to Bitcoin, from the cap to making it transparent, hence traceable, a lot, and we've talked about it in the past. Last thing, Dan Smots, libertarian propagandist, Illuminati, wrote on X, are the post-libertarians vindicated yet? And then Fiat Demise wrote, do you take super chats from viewers on your show? And somebody else said they banned Dan from super chats. Well, if you're banned from that, take a look at Xmrchat, a way to get super chats paid with crypto. It works with StreamYard and very soon OBS to display the messages on screen. You can also just read messages off the site too.
Regarding Xmrchat, we also, and this is probably why we're seeing an issue, is we just recently launched the ability to use it via OBS. So initially, it was just by StreamYard, connected in via Twitch, and it works. It does work when it's working. It works very beautifully and seamlessly. Very easy for the streamer to just add the super chats live. But now we've added functionality so you can do that with OBS as well. And I assume when we updated the code to add that functionality, that's why we're seeing an error today. So we'll get that fixed.
Awesome. That's actually big. Well, that was the news section, guys. I'm not sure, Doug, are you able to take over, or should we try to extend a little bit the news?
No, let's go. Yeah, I'm good now. We could move on with the show, and we could get the special guest up. I might just be a little bit in and out just because of where I'm driving. So Shortwave, if you can kind of help man the interview with me.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can do special guest and then play the price report segment and do whatever we're going to do, and then do viewers on stage.
Sounds good.
All right, let's do it. Special guest.
Are you playing the segment? Or are you waiting for me?
Oh, I'm waiting for you.
Okay, yeah, I thought you were doing. That's what I wanted.
Epic fail. Sorry, guys.
No worries. I'll play it now because I was away from the computer. All right, let's do this.
The Monerotopia guest segment is sponsored by Cake Wallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. Cake Wallet is open source, and you always control your own keys.
Hello, can you hear me?
UrbanHacker, you have been added to the stage.
How's it going?
Yes, it's doing great. Yeah, so thanks for inviting me on the show. I'm a big listener, and it's quite an honor to be today with you. And yeah, I think it's funny how we kept missing each other between the emails, and but finally we can speak, and I'm sure it's going to be interesting for everyone listening.
Yeah. Apologies for not establishing communication sooner. We get a lot of people coming at us from all different places: email, DMs, But yeah, for anybody listening, the best way is email with a good subject line, because then we will keep it organized and eventually get to you. But yeah, man, thanks for jumping on today, and give us a quick little background about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So my background is I studied cybersecurity, and I was a cybersecurity training officer, and also a video game developer, which is kind of an odd combination, if you ask me. And I have a lot of experience just training people, making sure they comply with the best practice in cybersecurity at companies. And what I've noticed over the years is, as I was advising, from employee to CEO, I started to become more and more cypherpunk, and basically a bit hijack my own presentation to suggest people to use the strongest possible encryption and the best tool I could imagine, because I felt like it was necessary. And I was seeing that more and more. I mean, and even like in the past few months, it seems to accelerate, like this push for tyranny. And yeah, I wanted to make sure that people would have the best tool possible, but I've done it in a corporate environment, so I had to disguise it a bit. So yeah, that's in short my background, and I think today we are going to discuss a bit more about Tor, and why everyone using Monero should also run a Tor relay, which I think is important, especially bridges to help people bypass censorship. And I know it's weird how it all clicked together, because I'm helping with a platform called escapethetechnocracy.com, which is a website where we are selling tutorials and like a course explaining basically from zero to maximum about privacy. And we wanted to do a segment about mesh networks and censorship bypass. And then at the same time, all of this thing was happening in Brazil, and we're like, oh my God, we need to be quicker with our content. And the plan is to have a full tutorial explaining exactly what are the different Tor nodes and how you can run one, and in a safe way, right? Because you can also run them and get in trouble depending on how you do. So that's a bit my background, where I come from. And in this platform, escapethetechnocracy.com, we also have a module about Monero where we explain people how to use XMRBazaar, because in my opinion, it's the best way. Thanks. Well, but it's like all the traditional on and off ramp are completely under control, and they either delisted Monero or are in the process of doing so. And it's just the best way, right, to acquire them in a peer-to-peer fashion. Yeah, so that's
yeah, man. That's fantastic, man. I love that you guys are doing that. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Right, the best way to obtain it without KYC or AML is to work for it, trade something for it, provide a good and services for it, treat it like money, and earn it. Earn it. You can earn it as anonymously as you pretty much like, using XMRBazaar to provide goods and services to people around the world. You could do, you could do graphic artist consulting from the other side of the world to wherever your customer is, and receive payment anonymously in Monero. So yeah, that I love that you guys are out there talking about that. Before we jump into the tutorial, which I think is going to be fantastic, is Monero, give us a little bit more just about your Monero story. I mean, are you talking about other cryptos as well, or have you pretty much found your way to Monero as being the one that people should be focusing on?
Yeah, increasingly, I think Monero should be the one that people should be focusing on. I think you said it better than anyone. Initially, I mean, I was big into Bitcoin. When we also what happened in 2020, and I had so many friends. I was basically, the guy like talking a bit the conspiracy guy, with my friends. And then during 2020, they were like, "Oh, Urban, now we see what you were saying. It becomes clear." And initially, I was big on Bitcoin because, I thought, well, this is kind of like the biggest one. This is probably the first one that anyone heard about. And I was a user of privacy tool like Samurai Wallet and others. And increasingly, we've seen, I would say, that Bitcoin is captured. No one really cares about the original cypherpunk mindset. And I was aware of Monero simply because of my background in cybersecurity, because I knew about it from this, right? And I don't know. I always liked the project, but I was never really involved into it. But yeah, with the shutdown of Samurai Wallet, and basically in a few weeks having many wallets just either shutting down or deciding to not serve the US, I was like, okay, I guess now it's Monero. Now I still like Bitcoin and I still want Bitcoin to succeed, but Monero is just easier. And let me tell you something, Doug. On the website, we accept Monero by default. So like when you go on the website and you want to pay for any items that we're selling, the first option that you get is Monero, because we believe in it, and we want, like, of course, you can also pay with fiat and other and Bitcoin, but we want to encourage people to use an actual digital peer-to-peer cash. And I'm not in here for the gold or for the whatever. I think this is the most important role. Like, you need first people using it. And if you look at most of the big decisions that were taken in Bitcoin, like on their own, they are like, I'm not sure how to say. I don't want to sound too much into conspiracy theory, but like any decision taking alone is like, okay, yeah, it could be one or the other. But if you put them together, almost none of them were to benefit merchant adoption. And when I mean merchant adoption, is not using, Coinbase payment or Binance wallet. It's actual self-custody, sovereign way to onboard merchant. And you have this whole culture of not using it, which I mean, I get it. It's important to save money, but on the other side, you also need to support people who are like the forerunner, and who go ahead and try, like, the precursor to this digital revolution. So right now, I'm pretty much into Monero just for those reasons alone. But I still like Bitcoin, and for other crypto, I follow them from I'm always very skeptical about this, but I like some of those projects what they are trying to build, like DarkFi. I think your interview with Amir was amazing, and there are certainly certain interesting things, but those are not ready yet, I feel, to like ask people to start using them and things like this. So yeah, that's a bit my view on cryptocurrencies.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic. So you think that's kind of generally what has happened with regards to Samurai users, and have most of them moved on to Monero with the shutdown of Samurai? You being one of them, is that kind of the sense that you're getting? What is that what's happening on the ground?
I mean, obviously, I cannot speak for other people, right? But there were already a lot of crossover between the two communities, and I think they were building shortly before getting shut down. They were building like atomic swap that you could directly swap, from their wallet to Monero. I'm not sure exactly how it worked. I never used it, but I think they were trying to build bridges between the two communities. Um, I think Bitcoiners should just care more about privacy. Like, um, it's a pity that, like, you think you have, oh, this great money that is, going up forever in value, but if it cannot be used in a private way, then it means it can be frozen and confiscated, and then all you're accumulating is completely worthless, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm not sure about others, but there is certainly, I feel like, a shift of people that I would never have imagined accepting Monero, that now I've started, to put to say, hey, now we accept Monero, and I think it's great. I think it's great. And what I tell often people is, or what I used to tell people is, look, the financial system is kind of sinking. It's kind of like the Titanic, right? Um, the flooding is going on, and the pumps are pumping, but they are not fast enough to go against the massive amount of debt that we have. And for a long time, I thought that my safety raft, my safe boat was Bitcoin. But for me, Monero is the flare. Just in case Bitcoin doesn't work, it's good to have a backup. And I think people should, everyone should use Monero just to see how it works. Yeah, I think that's how I would phrase it.
Sounds like you fit in here pretty well, man.
I told you,
agreeing
I'm a
with
big listener.
Yeah, agreeing with everything you have to say, and yeah, it's if we use it, we win. That's literally the theme of the Monerotopia conference. I think that's a great meme. Talking to Francisco Arctic Mine the other day, and we were going over the chain analysis video that leaked. A big part of that conversation was around the fact that not only is full chain membership proofs going to be something that prevents chain analysis, but the growing adoption and usage of and scaling of Monero itself will also not only make it a greater utility in terms of more people accepting it, but effectively will make it more private and anonymous as more people use it. So if we use it, we win.
Yeah, totally. I would totally agree with you on that. I listened to your episode where you went through the chain analysis video, and what I found interesting is, if you remember, the first time I contacted you was to discuss about Whirlpool and Wasabi. And as I was preparing the show, I tried to load in a blockchain analysis tool or a Wasabi transaction, and also like Whirlpool. And those are so huge when you start to expand all the graphs, all the possible graphs. And my computer were just running out of RAM, and the cloud service I was using had trouble. And I joked and I said, we are winning because we make their computer run out of memory to just load this ginormous transaction graph. But it's funny that it seems that Arctic Mine agrees with that it's also a viable strategy. By just having more people using it, it's way more data, and any more data that you try to extract from it is going to be extremely hard, and it's going to cost you a lot of resource. And I found this very interesting because I noticed it myself when I was doing some on-chain research for the show that we were supposed to have.
Speaking of that, I was actually curious because I saw that episode too. And so Arctic Mind said that we should have he wants to see Ethereum level transactions. And I actually had to go look that up. It's over 1 million transactions per day on average, by the way. So we need to, 10, 20x our transactions to get there, which we will. I'm certain we will.
Yeah, I think like we're saying, Monero has real world utilities. So as the transactions go up, they're not going to come back down because it's people that are actually using it for real things. I think once we start to see apps be created in the space that become widely used, we'll see transaction volume grow with that. Obviously, things like XMRBazaar, people using it for purchases, but also things like XMRchat.com, sending super chats, using the ability to send super small transactions for a fraction of a cent. So once apps and services that tie into that utility start taking off, I think that's when we'll really start to see transaction volume grow beyond it just being traded on centralized exchanges.
It's one of the things that I had a lot of friends using also Samurai, and mainly because of me. And then they were like, "Oh, Urban, it was shut down. What should we do?" And my first answer is use Bitcoin in a peer-to-peer fashion. Just having people using it this way makes a natural mixing, right? It naturally adds uncertainty on what's going on. And this is why I think Monero is quite good at, is that you are trying to encourage real adoption, as in people exchanging real stuff, goods and services for Monero. And I like the slow growth mindset. I mean, of course, we want it to be faster somehow, but I think it's a natural, slow and steady growth of the network, which is key in my opinion for the success compared to this craziness. I mean, you see now in Bitcoin where they think like Fedimint and Show Me an eCash are going to be the solution. And I mean, Samurai was never custodied the fund of anyone. Wasabi is never custodied the fund of anyone. I don't know how they hope that Show Me an eCash are not going to get shut down as well. To me, this is a pipe dream, and it's a bit of, I don't know. Yeah. Should we move to Tor? I mean, I can discuss about pretty much any cybersecurity topic you want, but you are the master of the show here.
Yeah, we could do that. Let me ask you one more Samurai wallet question. I was talking to somebody about it the other day, and I never followed it too closely because I was always just using Monero, right? But when the drama happened, I was really kind of looking into it on a deeper level. But I was talking to somebody the other day who I thought was really kind of well versed with Samurai. He was saying Samurai wallet didn't collect any fees. Is that true? I thought they did collect fees. I know it's non-custodial. I know it's open source, but fees were collected for usage of certain features on Samurai, correct?
Yes. They had premium feature. To my knowledge, they had two main features that were collecting fees. They had Ricochet, which is the one where you send to it's like churning in Monero. You send to yourself like 1, 2, 3 times. And then they also had the Whirlpool fee. And this is for two reasons. One of them was obviously funding the development of the wallet, but also as a way to avoid spam. Because just like in Monero, you could do a black marble attack. You could also do something similar with Whirlpool. So yeah, no, they were collecting fees.
Right, and that was in the in the indictment. I think they stated something like $4 million or something in fees that were collected, and that ultimately was part of the issue, right? Like, granted, we don't know how much further the government's going to go. Maybe whether you're collecting fees or making revenue won't even matter. It will just be, are you somehow connected? Did you play a role in the creation of a service that can be used for money laundering? Like, that's literally the next step they would have to take. But with Samurai, I think the obvious issue was that they were directly profiting from the use of this tool. But yeah, I just wanted to clarify that because I talked to somebody, I was DMing with them. I mean, unless I wasn't picking up on their sarcasm or something, and I thought they were very well versed in Samurai, was making the argument that they don't even collect fees. He was like, they just made money off of selling T-shirts and stuff. I was like, what? No, they were collecting fees. And
no.
With XMRBazaar, we're intentionally going out of our way to not collect any fees related to any transactions that are taking place on the service. All the transactions are completely peer-to-peer. XMR Bazaar does not participate in them in any way or collect a fee. And I think that's important for people to realize, you know, when they're trying to build tools in this area, in this arena.
But you know, maybe I've been a bit black-pilled, but I think they will just like, if you make a successful tool, even if you don't collect any fee, they will just come after you. You know, for so long the boundary was, is it custodial or non-custodial? And I believe that the reason why non-custody was quote unquote allowed is because they didn't believe it was possible to make a true strong, with like strong obfuscation, zero link protocol with like purely non-custodial. And then, you know, people found way around and they got in trouble. So I don't think the theory, I mean, you know, if you send something by the post office, they are also are profiting, right? You pay for the stamp, you pay for the delivery. And then if you send some threatening letter to someone, oh, look, the postal system is, you know, profiting from criminal using it. That's a bullshit argument. I think this is bullshit, but yeah, for sure. Let's see what will happen. Yeah.
Are you a fluent Spanish speaker?
Yeah, so it's it's funny that you ask me. When I speak about technical stuff like this, I have a hard time to do it in Spanish, because when I speak with my family in Spanish, we don't speak about cryptocurrencies. So it's funny, like when I do presentation, it's just, I don't know, the vocabulary is different somehow. So I stick to English just because I want to make sure that I give my best performance possible.
Yeah, reason I'm
yeah.
asking, because you know, I was looking at your work and your podcast, and obviously listening to you today. I think you're doing a great job explaining the importance of privacy tech, and then you have you've studied these things on a deeper level, and I think you're doing a good job explaining them. So I was going to say, potentially, if you wanted to come down to Monerotopia, help run a workshop, or even maybe do a presentation in Spanish, because we're going to have a Spanish section devoted to it. We're going to have people do like Monero 101 in Spanish. I'm throwing the invite out there, and doing a talk on Tor, which I know you were going to get to today, could also be a great workshop. So
my plan, or at least initially when we discuss, each with our own like separate, you know, it's like one day offset between each message.
Yes.
My plan is today to talk about Tor and to answer any question that you might have, and to explain a bit the basics about why Tor is important. But to not, you know, to keep it friendly for a podcast, right?
Okay.
And then on Monerotopia, so I've reserved the date in my calendar. I just have to check with the price of the plane ticket, but I have for sure the date are reserved for this. So God's willing, I might be able to just jump on a plane and come, and then we could do like a workshop about Tor and how you run a node, which I think would be better. You know, where we can do a demonstration. And we are going on the platform Escape the Technocracy. We are going to publish for free, because we think this is really important. We are going to publish the chapter where we were discussing about Tor. It's going to be published for free so that anyone can just watch it and run Tor relays. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So that's the plan. We'll see. Hopefully I can come to Monerotopia, but I think we will discuss in private the details on how we make this happen.
Fantastic. Shortwave, are you there? Or Sunita? Is Sunita there?
Sorry, I'm here. I just had to unclick my mute button.
Or Sunita, if we could get her to, I just want to run our segment, the price report segment, just so we can get our sponsor up. So we'll run that, guys. Like and share. We're about to get a short, brief breakdown of what Tor is exactly and why people should not only be using it but helping to support the network. So we're about to do that. But before we do it, let's run that
Price report?
that sponsor price report since we didn't do price report today.
Okay, let's do
Go
that
ahead and
right
do
now.
that.
The Monerotopia Price Report segment is sponsored by Exolix, a privacy-focused, non-custodial instant crypto exchange. Go to exolix.com to enjoy secure and completely anonymous swaps with no KYC or sign-up. Swap between Monero and 2,000 plus assets at the most competitive rates and with no limits. Exolix.com, your fast and secure way to privacy.
All right. Yeah, Xlix, they're sponsoring the show and they're sponsoring Monerotopia too. They have a Copa Monero team. So tremendous thank you to them. And we're going to get them on soon so people can kind of vet them out in the open and learn about their services. They offer very competitive rates. They, don't KYC. It's an instant exchange. There are a lot of them out there right now. But Xlix is giving back in a big way by supporting this conference. So we appreciate that. All right, man, let's take it away. Maybe, yeah, like you said, maybe keep it podcast friendly. And then for those that really want to get the most hands-on version of this explanation, come down to Monerotopia and you could hear it live. So take it away, man.
Yes. Yeah, sure. By the way, I just posted the link to the website where we sell resources and stuff, and this is where we will put the workshop. So people can, your listener, you can just share. I don't have a YouTube account, but feel free to share. So it's escape.technocracy.com.
Well, listen, we'll put you up on the Monerotopia.com website as an Adoption Alley sponsor.
Sure.
If you could come, and so we'll have a link to it there.
Okay, thanks. Tor. So if you have any question about Tor, you can feel free to ask me, or I can just do my small introduction, and then we can have a discussion and where you ask question and we can clarify together.
Yeah. I would do an introduction.
Okay. So in a short history, I want to go back a bit in time. The first, like way before Tor, they were like mixed network. And those were created by the original cypherpunk. And the original idea was that you could send emails, right? And you could send an email to a server, and then at a random time, which was like a few hours later, it would then send it to another server, etc. And this was extremely complicated to use. You can look for like Mixmaster and cypherpunk remailer if you want on Google Image to see the GUI, and it was like you had to use PGP, and it was like very cumbersome. But those were like the first privacy focused tools that were created historically. And they were already back then. What's funny is they were already like issue like someone posted some material from the Church of Scientology using one of those remailer, and then the Church of Scientology tried to shut down and ask which IP address posted this material. And then this led, to the rise of like end-to-end encryption and other things like this.
PGP.
Now, Tor itself, PGP, PGP. But I mean, PGP already existed. It was not just like, it's more the idea of chaining PGP together. Is that you're gonna encrypt 3 times with PGP, and then every server is gonna decrypt, send to the next one. That's and this is also what one of the issue they had was also spam. How do you moderate a network like this? And this is when Adam Back came with the very famous
Hashcash.
Now proof of work. Yeah,
Hashcash.
Yeah,
right,
exactly. It was Hashcash. Now, if we fast forward in the early 2000s, the US government had a research project with the Navy to create basically like an anonymous network. And this eventually became Tor. And the original idea of Tor was to basically enable to access anonymously websites. I don't think there was yet the idea of hidden services. The main purpose was basically to obfuscate who is the sender. And if you look, Tor network is basically it's like a VPN, but 3 times, where you send to the first one, that then send to the next one, and then it exits on the clear web. And of course, with the years, there was some kind of harm raised. So the program was made public, because obviously, like if you are the US Army, or like you run some kind of secret operation and you're the only one using this, then it's obvious it's you, right? So they had to make it public. They couldn't just keep, like, you need other people to use to provide cover for what you're doing. And I think this is why they published it. Now, of course, currently the tracking is way more. I mean, this was like the innocence of 2000, because now you have like fingerprint, and this is why they eventually created their own browser that is hardened to resist. Now, the Tor network, compared to VPN, it's entirely voluntary run. So you do have people running relay, and the Tor network, the Tor project on its own, they do not run any relay, and I think it's for legal safety, that they shield themselves. They are just providing the software, and then other people might or might not run it. So as what you realize is, in many crypto user use Tor without even knowing it. It's often integrated into wallets, and often it's just as a magical button like online privacy, and you can just toggle it, and it will route all your connection through Tor. So many people use it without even knowing every day, and because it's a voluntary.
I don't want to. I don't want to throw you. I don't want to throw you off too much. Should I throw some things out there or no?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
No. Go ahead.
Just because I know. So recently, somebody was telling me that they're looking for a replacement, essentially, for Tor for when you're running a node. That there are some weaknesses with Tor. What are they? I hear like there's recent criticisms of Tor. Let's say like Versailles2P or other ways of doing things, and give us the lowdown on that.
Yeah. So Tor, I mean, this was created, as we said, in the early 2000s, right? Obviously, it has shown its age. There is much more sophisticated attack. You now have the concept of a global passive adversary that can basically listen to everything, which was assumed to be impossible back then. There are a bunch of other projects. So there is I2P, which I think is the second largest anonymity network, but don't quote me on that. I'm not sure about the numbers. Then you have like completely self-contained networks that do not really offer a bridge to the outside, that are their own bubble. And you have newer
how about like NIM? Where does NIM fall?
Yeah. So NIM is one of the newest projects. There is NIM, and there is another one which I don't remember, but that's fine. So NIM is an attempt to go beyond what Tor, like to improve on what Tor built, and I think they also want to offer a incentive to run a node, like a monetary incentive that you would get their token. I follow them from far away. I like what they are trying to do, and I think they want to go a bit under what Mixnet were. Tor, it's a circuit-based system, so that when you're connected to a website, it's gonna use always the same circuit, always the same 3 nodes, and then it's gonna switch to another circuit. The idea of NIM is that basically every packet, or almost every packet, could be potentially sent by any node, which would help with congestion, which would potentially allow things like torrenting or streaming, which are currently not really possible on Tor.
Isn't that the same thing I2P does? With the sending, with each node sending, instead of circuits, just packet switching? Isn't that what I2P does as well?
I think I2P is a bidirectional circuit, so that you send with a circuit and you receive with another one. I think that's what they are doing.
Okay,
but
thanks.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I mean, the thing is, it's hard to like delve too deep into one of those networks because none of them are currently used on a higher scale. Like Tor is just the largest and the biggest, and I guess like I have limited amount of time, and for me to delve into one, I just focus on the one that is the most used, and yeah, so that would be Tor. But no, I think I2P would be the bidirectional, and NIM is really every packet can potentially be sent by any node on the network. And also I2P doesn't have, yeah.
So okay, that's fair. And like you said, we could do a whole hours of talk just on those things alone, I'm sure. So, by the way, do you know VT Nerd? Are you familiar with VT Nerd in the Monero community? So
I'm afraid not.
He's kind of like he's the dev that's I would say like kind of most focused on and leading in development in Monero network privacy, right? So privacy on a network level, with building things like Dandelion plus and integrating I2P into Monero. So we're trying to get him down in Monerotopia. He was at the first one. But yeah, he's kind of like he's somebody that should be highly praised in the Monero community. He's one of the most important contributors in my understanding. I like things like Dandelion plus. I think are technology, is a part of Monero that's kind of even like ignored. People don't even really talk about it, and it's I think is Monero the leader, would you say, in terms of obfuscating use of the network on a network level compared to other cryptos? Do you have insight into that?
I think what's great about Monero is that everything is on by default and you cannot really change unless you really go into the config of your wallet. You're not really able to change those default. And I think you also have to think about something like all the cryptocurrency could tomorrow use Dandelion, right? I mean, it's just a very specific way to broadcast transaction. But the problem is that if you use it, let's say on Bitcoin, then okay, you're gonna be super anonymous when you broadcast your transaction. That comes from your KYC wallet. That is very obvious that you sign up with your Coinbase account, right? So it's even implementing a technology like this, I think you need the entire package to make it really strong, because on its own, it's like, oh yeah, it hides URP, but what's the problem? But
that was the when Francisco was schooling me on Monero. That was the point he kept saying. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts, right? So you can implement one or two of Monero's technologies, but unless you're implementing all of them, you're not going to create something as private and uncorruptible.
Yeah, and I think Dandelion is excellent, and we have seen this in the slide where basically they had two era of tracking Monero. There was previous to Dandelion, which was kind of like hard but doable, and then the after one, which is like walking in the dark forest without light and hoping to find maybe someone using your node. And I found it interesting because again, on its own, it seems very frivolous. Like, why would you do that? But I think for that Monero, and also what I like about this approach is that it doesn't rely on Tor. Like, it offers another, because again, if you want to configure Tor and use it with Monero, it's a bit harder. Like sometimes it's slower. It might not always work, but with Dandelion, you have a kind of like an okay-ish solution that works out of the box, which is really great.
Exactly. And I'll let you get back on track. I mean, I guess you basically want to get to the point of, what Tor is and why it's important to support the network, and I guess how to do so in a brief way.
Yeah. So Tor is pretty much currently the only widely used network that provides some anonymity and also helps bypass censorship. And since it's voluntary run, people should consider running nodes to help support the network. And especially, I would say one type of node, especially is bridges and hidden entry points. So if you have a country that decide tomorrow to, censor their citizen, the Tor network, like the list of server that are part of the Tor network is public. And Tor itself published that. So they are not trying to hide where they are. You can just go on the project and download the list. And if you want to block them, it's extremely easy. And this, of course, creates issues for, like, it's good for transparency. And sometimes it's required, but it's bad for users who are trying to access the non-censored internet. So what a bridge is doing is it basically offers a hidden entry point that only a few people know about, and your traffic when you connect to it is also obfuscated. Because the other problem is Tor does not hide of the fact that you're using Tor, right? It's a very obvious fingerprint. It's a very obvious traffic. It looks very it's very easy to know that you're using it. But by using a bridge, you have a secret access, like a secret door, that is this first node that is important, and then it just use the normal Tor network, and you're back. So if you there are certain countries now that without bridge you cannot just access Tor. Like the censorship is so heavy that you need to run them. Now, what happened is obviously the people censoring, they do not want this, right? So they are constantly shutting down those nodes, which is why we should run as many as possible. The easiest for people listening now that they can do is if you're using a modern web browser like Firefox or Chrome, just look for Snowflake Tor extension and download this extension on your browser. And it's going to be basically you're going to share your browser bandwidth with someone in the world. That's the easiest way to run. So I know we said we don't want to go into technical, and I think it's good. But what I found amazing about Snowflake's Relay is that it's extremely easy to run, and basically anyone can now run it. And if you're using a node like Umbrel, and hey, Doug, maybe this is an application that you should consider to put on your nodal.
Yeah. But obviously,
you
I'm
should
thinking
have.
Yeah.
You should have a Snowflake relay and a bridge that people could just install in like one click. So that's
that would
the
be
simplest.
fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We have when you run the node itself, you could have it in one click run over Tor. But adding a way to essentially support Tor in a click would be amazing.
Yeah, and this way, when someone basically doesn't have access to the greater internet, they will access this hidden resource, and then they can access whatever website was censored. So this is in short, and of course I would welcome anyone to go and read about the bridge. I'm still preparing the workshop, so for sure there is going to be a online video explaining all of this on our website, and then hopefully they're also going to have a workshop in person in Mexico. So
Yeah, man, let's make it
that
happen.
would be the idea.
Yeah, you'll really enjoy meeting Deverick as well. He's going to be down there being one of the workshop professors as well, and he's very well versed in Tor and these things. So you'll enjoy meeting him. So what you mentioned it in passing when you were talking about the different technologies that are doing similar things. But the fact that Tor, there is no incentive to run a Tor node, do you think that's kind of a fundamental issue that's going to basically lead to Tor's extinction in the long run? Given, other solutions where, there's an incentive for everybody to support the network.
Yeah. And I on purpose, I only discuss about the bridges, which are those hidden entry points, because those are very easy to run and you won't have any legal trouble. Now, if you're running things like exit nodes, that's another question, and there have been people who got in trouble by doing this. And if you have no incentive and you can also get in trouble, it's a bit of like a very it's okay. Why should I? Yeah, why should I even run this? And maybe I get a knock on the door at 4 a.m. and so I think it's going to be a bit of an issue. So the advantage is, of course, they cannot use the samurai. What they use in samurai is, you can say, well, I'm volunteer, I'm just running this out of passion. But at the same time, running the server costs money, it costs bandwidth, it costs things like this. So I'm not a specialist in token economics, but this is why we have NIM. And this is why we are going to see if they can somehow make it work, that you have the right balance. I think finding the right balance is also complex. There have been an initiative, I don't really know what it became, but I think there was an idea of, if you put your Monero address in the descriptor of your Tor relay, then they aggregate donations and they would send to the 10 top highest bandwidth of the month or something like this.
Oh, that's
cool. Yeah, but I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure what the guy did. But hey, that could be certainly.
It seems like they could get in trouble for that, though, because if they're holding funds from a donation pool, it seems like they could get in trouble for doing that.
Yeah.
Right. It's not that rough.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Now I will say a few things. There is here in the comment section someone asking about DDoSing Tor. I'm not sure if people are aware, but Tor implemented.
Tell us about the spam attack, right, and the solution. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So I think the Tor project, they were. I don't know. They probably know more than the public, because I tried really hard to find information about the spam attack that happened last year, and I couldn't find any good information about it, which was very frustrating for like cybersecurity researcher like me, trying to understand what the hell was going on. But the solution that they came up with is good old proof of work. And they actually used RandomX, or a slightly modified version of RandomX. And as far as I know, since it was deployed, it's not really like they didn't really had any major DDoS. So there are solution. There are solution to DDoS attack.
Now, I know, for example, like the Haveno seed nodes were under a denial of service attack because of the fact that proof of work was not implemented. And then when they did update the seed nodes to be proof of work capable, the denial of service attacks have completely stopped, from what I can tell.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of report from people deploying proof of work, and it just stopped. They didn't even, they just deploy it, they didn't even enable it, but just like it advertised that, hey, now we have defense with proof of work. And it's probably a huge deterrent because it's like, they could, with a flick of a switch, just enable it and then stop it. So I wouldn't be too worried about this. Like, it seems that for now it helped. Another question, that what application use Snowflake's relay, like messaging? Really, anyone using the Tor browser, if you go and you ask for a Snowflake bridge, you're gonna have one. So you could, yesterday when I tried it in preparation for this podcast, I was able to just go on YouTube and use it. So what happened is, when you run a Snowflake, you're gonna only share your connection with one or two users. So it's not gonna use too much of your bandwidth because, again, it shouldn't slow down your internet, right? You are sharing already your resources. So I wouldn't worry too much, but it's able to have like around 10 megabytes per second up and down. So I think it's pretty good, but of course it depends on which snowflakes you are connecting to.
All right.
Now, with proof of work, I know Tor obviously deployed proof of work. Do you suspect that other applications such as NIM or I2P or LokiNet or whatever will also deploy proof of work, since it actually seems to be working properly? Or do you think they're going to try something else?
That's a good question.
Potentially, yeah, it's an excellent question. Potentially, if they have tokens, they could also say now it's paid, right? But now the code has been done and it has shown that it seems to work, and it seems that it stopped the congestion of the network. So I would guess it's just a matter of doing like implementing what Tor did. The problem with those other network is not many people are using them, and because not many people are using them, it's also not sure how much anonymity do they truly provide, right? And this is why I'm also, as someone who is like an educator, I'm reluctant to advise people using this. The thing is, with Tor, we know it works.
This is why you like Monero, right? Monero is kind of analogous
exactly.
in that sense.
It works.
Exactly. Oh, sorry to interrupt, man. Yeah, go ahead and wrap up. Is there anything else you want to make sure you get out today?
Yes. So if anyone is interested to buy one of the course at escape.technocracy, we have a discount code. So the website is escape.technocracy.com, and the discount code is Monerotopia. So we thought this would be cool for people listening. But of course, you can. Thank you. You can just share the website, and as soon as the Tor, we just need to finish the workshop. But as soon as it's ready, we're gonna publish it, and I'm sure it's gonna be great. And people are hopefully gonna run more Tor nodes because this is important.
Yeah, man. You definitely got to come down to Monerotopia. Let's make that happen.
Yeah. Let's discuss in private and see how we can do it. I think you wanted also to talk about XMRBazaar, but maybe we're running out of time, and maybe it's better to keep this for another time.
Well, no, you could bring that up, and then let's do. Can you stick around for viewers on stage a little bit?
Yeah, sure-ish.
Yeah,
I can stick probably.
Go when you need to, but let's run viewers on stage, and we get some people up that want to ask questions. But yeah, if you can just maybe tell us your XMRBazaar thoughts, because it does sound like you're working on something cool. So
yeah, give us your XMRBazaar thoughts, and then we'll run the viewers on stage segment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to try to be super quick. I don't want to annoy anyone, but so yeah, I think you did a great job by creating this website, and it's pretty cool, and it's one of the best ways that we have to acquire anonymous money. And it's funny because we are preparing also a course about Bitcoin, And basically, we are going to explain Bitcoiner that the way they acquire Bitcoin anonymously is to go on XMRBazaar, get XMR, and then swap it to Bitcoin. But no, it's just I love it. Like it enables anyone to simply propose their service, their consulting, their whatever
Exactly.
they are doing, and as I think I mentioned this in the intro, but I was looking for grass-fed beef, high quality grass-fed beef around me, and like no one was selling this, and
Yeah.
I've met a farmer and started to gain her trust, showed her how Bitcoin works and now how Monero,
Amazing.
and you focus on one person, right? You gain their trust, you show that you're willing to stick. If they increase the price because of inflation, you keep with them, and you're not the client of Walmart. You cannot really you have no negotiating power like big corporations don't really care about you. You're just the raw data that then they sell to those ginormous technocratic uh, um, advertisement and surveillance company. And you have also to be aware, like most online shop are not online shop; they are surveillance a website that on the side also sell your product. I worked for a bit for a e-commerce website, and basically the goal there was to spy on people as much as possible. To have them sign up with WhatsApp and things like this. Now with XMRBazaar, you're back into a one-on-one relationship between you, the client, and then the merchant, or vice versa.
Exactly.
And my idea and the thing that I'm trying here to grow the circular economy is to basically have my beef merchant listed on XMRBazaar, that she accept Monero and Bitcoin, hopefully more Monero than Bitcoin, and then to try to grow the circle around. We plan, but this is still, I mean, we're still working with the local regulation for that, but we want to have a small physical store where
Where
you're
is it?
going to
Where
be
is this,
able.
by the way? Can you tell us where this is?
Yeah, it's in Europe.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
as much. I don't want to
Okay.
jinx it, right?
Okay.
When
Okay.
it's
Okay. Yeah.
ready,
Yeah.
yeah,
We'll
sure.
talk when it's ready. Okay.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
we're still in discussion with the local government that we can have all the permission to have the physical store. It's gonna be like a small self-service farmers market, but the idea would be you can get in and you can pay with Monero and Bitcoin, and we're gonna see how this is gonna work. But it's a long work,
Yes. Yes.
farmers, I will tell you this, they understand. They
Hmm.
understand what's coming, and they understand it, but they need like easy way to do. And I don't want to onboard them on Binance Pay, or I want that they have a self custody from the get go, right? So
I
yeah, that's
I
this.
th- I think I think
Uh,
the topic of farmers has come up so many times in the Monero community, and those that are trying to build parallel economies, because that is the key. You get farmers on board, and you have consumers that are buying from them directly, peer to peer. That's a large percentage of your daily needs in terms of costs covered by a
yeah,
parallel economy. So and in a way where you're getting more quality items than you would ever get elsewhere, right? So it's
and
it's
and, and
uh,
you know
tremendous value there.
when I go to this place and I I regularly buy something like half a cow or so, and I get sometimes a full breakfast for my family and myself, and you will never get a breakfast from Walmart or Costco or any of those big companies. You will never be greeted as, like when you have this unique relationship, you would be surprised. We got recently a full detailed breakdown of every antibiotics that she had to give to her cow because sadly one of them was sick. Not that she wanted to, make them fatter or anything, because it's purely grass-fed, grass-finished beef. But she basically told us, look, we had a sick cow, and this is the medication we gave, and we hope you're going to be fine with that, but be aware this happened. And this is a level that is like unprecedented, to have like this very transparent explanation of what she's doing. Now she was selling it for fiat, but she's selling it for crypto for me for now few years, and she wants to expand the user base by accepting more people.
Amazing.
So we will see how it will happen. So yeah, this
Definitely.
is the physical.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, definitely keep us posted, man, as you're working on this, and let us know, what resources we could help with. I'd be willing to help
Yeah,
that out in any way I can.
I mean, for now we need the authorization to have the. So we're gonna do it for sure, but then the question is, do we have the physical shop or no? That's a bit what's now. It's in.
Awesome.
It's in. And then at the same time, of course, we want to onboard people. This is what I can do locally to help. And then with online workshop and tutorial, then this is my way to share this knowledge with a bigger audience, because I cannot possibly, help every single person one by one. That wouldn't really scale.
No. Beautiful, man. Beautiful to hear. And if you're working on it, we could assume other people are in other places. We know other people are. I'm going to focus more on that locally in New York after Monerotopia. I think the time is now. I've obviously tried things in the past, but I think we're at the point where we could do something like, a reoccurring marketplace that's Monero only, a real world marketplace that happens. Maybe you start even only like once a month, once a quarter, and slowly build it up to that from there.
Yeah, and again, this increased privacy for everyone else, because more people are now using it, and also it like, this is why to maybe like close it down. This is why I kind of I'm a bit disappointed with Bitcoin. They do not support people who do like grassroots adoption like this. They just think by hodling it, it's gonna magically go to insane number. And no, it's gonna go to magically insane number because people use it. This is why. Because it has users.
The cancer is fiat and the government's control of fiat and their ability to surveil transactions. And the only antidote to that is something that's completely private in digital form. Otherwise, you're not disrupting the adversary that it was built to disrupt.
Yeah, you said it with better words than me, definitely.
Amazing, man. So let's get viewers on stage up here. If you could stick around, please do, because I know people will ask questions. Sunita, are you there?
I think.
Yes, Sunita, are you? Otherwise, I can run it, but it'll take me a second to get over there.
Yeah, because I wanted to ask her one other thing. But go ahead, man. What'd you want to say? You got to run?
No, I don't. But
no. So I think. Sorry.
No, go ahead. It was my bad.
No, I mean I can stick to probably 20-ish more minutes, and then I will have to run.
Viewers on stage,
but,
everybody's just gonna jump up and stay as long as you want. People jump on and jump off, but we'll give the people what they love. Everybody loves the viewers on stage, so we got to do it. Guys, like and share. Shortwave, if you could run the intro to that.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I gotta.
Okay. Give Shortwave a minute. He doesn't do this all the time, and he's pretty much blind, right? Shortwave, you're legally
Here we
blind.
go. Yep, almost completely blind. Here we go.
It's the Viewers on Stage segment. It's that time where we invite you, the viewers, up on stage to comment on anything you've heard so far today, ask the guest a question, or maybe talk about one of the news topics. Come on down.
All right, guys, jump on up.
All right, there we go. Let's see here.
I just want to let everybody in on a little secret. This for the last 25 minutes, I've been working out while doing this interview. It's been fantastic.
There we go. Let me see if I can bring some
might be
people.
the new format to the show.
No, let's not do that. Where are people? There we go. Yeah, this mouse is kind of annoying.
People going up. Do you have put the link out there so they know?
I haven't. Has you or Sanita?
Yeah, it's on Twitter, but you could just share the link. You go to invite, and share the studio link if you can do it.
I'm not going to be able to do that, I don't think.
Otherwise, all right, everybody. Yeah, the link is on Twitter.
The link is on either the Twitter, or you can get the stage link from the Monerotopia community on Monero.town. I know I saw Alaska Anon earlier, but I don't know where he went.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, I think people just don't have the link, but it's all good, man. We could keep it a short one. This would be a blessing in disguise. What are we at in terms of time?
Well, we're at 117, 120, so I don't what 2 hours and 20 minutes. Okay, we've got Gotti Legend here. Let's.
All right, bring him up. See if you could share the link. It is there. You just have to hit invite. The invite button, shortwave. It's on like the bottom of the screen, and there'll be a link that you can copy and paste. That's the thing right there.
Gotti,
what's going on?
Oh, did he go away? I think he went away. I think he didn't want to be up on stage.
All right.
Oh, wait. We got somebody. Oh, there we go. Alaska Anon.
I'm back.
I think that was my fault. I had to refresh to show up on the invite list.
Okay, there we go. Well, we got Alaska Anon, so we've got show for what, 6 more hours?
Guys, is Xmrchats still down? Somebody give it a test.
I'll give it a test while we're at it. Okay. So, UrbanHacker, I had a question about. So it sounds to me like you're a European individual who is interested in the cybersecurity space. Have you had a dramatic uptick in people interested in freedom technologies in the last 2 to 3 years?
So among friends, I had like people always saw me as a bit, the conspiracy guy. Like, what what happened is
I think everybody in the audience is nodding their head. Yes, me too.
After COVID, I had many people saying, "You know what, Urban? I get what you were saying." Here in Europe, a lot of people don't trust the government, and I am from a country. I think I could slightly dox myself. I'm from Switzerland. I live in Switzerland, and Switzerland is very stable. Things run. The trains are on time. The roads are okay. So people still trust a lot. And also the COVID lockdown was not so harsh. They threatened it to make it super harsh, but they never really did it. Now, for me, this is already way too much. But I think I will say this, though. We were the only country that voted for the COVID measure, and people voted 3 times yes to the lockdown. So 3 times the people voted. So I'm not sure, but I guess people are also more receptive to freedom technology. Now most of my family and friends are on Signal, and I almost exclusively use Signal and not really WhatsApp. And they also think Bitcoin is sadly that this is like so hard. Like they think Bitcoin is the solution and not really Monero. So this is sometimes sad because I think Bitcoin is partially co-opted at this point. So yeah, this is a bit the situation in Europe, or at least in let's say in my circle. Yeah.
How about with things like secure hardware? Have you seen any interest in secure hardware where you're at?
Sorry, your audio just cut.
How's that? It might be my microphone position. Is that better?
Yeah, it's better.
That seems fine now.
Yeah, much better.
Yeah. My question is what about secure hardware, like hardware that has, or is known to be more secure than, let's say, some OEM PC or whatever?
Okay, you mean like a hardened computer or like more or like crypto wallets and stuff?
Yeah, that would be a good example. Do you see people thinking about those things who didn't before?
Not really. So if we take the farmer example, recently she bought a hardware wallet with my advice, and she wanted to just do crypto on her computer. That was her idea to quote unquote, to be cheap. And then when I saw her computer, she's not even using Chrome. She's using some kind of default browser installed by some antivirus. And 2 years later, I was like, oh my God, this is so bad. Like, on Windows 7, unupdated for 10 years. I was like, I'm so glad we bought a hardware wallet. So no, I think people don't, I didn't really see any on my Instagram. I mean, the people who are like in IT and interested in crypto that I know, they all bought hardware wallets, or they use like dedicated phones just for that. But then on the general population, I didn't really see any uptake in that.
We also have Slave Blocker as well in the room. So if you have any questions, Slave Blocker, feel free to ask.
Hello. I was just trying to set up my camera, but the USB port is not in. Thanks for letting me on here again.
And nobody needs video anyway. To hell with that.
No, because I have 2 new decoration weapons here to show. One against banksters and one against fiat-backed politicians, but I'm gonna figure it out.
That's
yeah.
one weapon.
Is there like I always searched for that, never found like a description of the protocol of Tor.
What do you mean by the description?
Yeah, like what are you asking?
Like Monero has 0 to Monero and the book of Monero in Rust and all that. If Tor has something like that.
Oh, like a super
a
like
user
a super
introduction guide. Introduction guide.
Well, I don't want to get into the technicals. That's why I just asked if there is a technical guide, so one can like, because I don't, for example, know what's the difference between a relay and exit node and stuff like that.
So on their website, everything is explained, but sometimes I feel it's a bit confusing. This is part of one of the reasons why we decided to have a proper video explaining all the difference. And also some of the stuff is not explained, and I just figure out by trying out things with Tor itself and learning. I think for most beginner, they just download the browser and then it kind of works. But I'm not so sure. Like, I think you could just go and read their documentation and see. But I do see what you mean. By the way, just one quick thing, Alaska, I want to say, as a all-time listener of this show, I pretty much enjoy all your takes, and you were a big inspiration of me going to a farmer and trying to have her accepting cryptocurrency and Monero in particular. So just wanted to say that to you.
Thanks, man. So I would kind of add to what Slave Blocker is saying here, which is, so if a person looked up like a research paper or a white paper, you'll usually have included in it an abstract. And in the software community, there's already one additional step. Usually you have to go to like a Git repository or something like that. And then you kind of just have to hope that the creators have written some kind of abstract that is intelligible to the common user for that person to be interested. When you're onboarding somebody into something that requires a certain amount of technical prowess, most of the time, it's not that a person can't understand something. It's that they're going to have to make a certain time investment and an energy investment, and usually a monetary investment, in adopting a new technology or adopting a new concept. And you basically are making the case. It's the sales pitch when you try to describe what this thing can do for them, and then what they can do for the other people involved in whatever that technology or community or whatever it is. And I very commonly get the complaint. So for example, just the other day, I was talking to a person who is already a pretty technically proficient person. He's very avant-garde, you know, has his own garden and so on. And he just asked quite simply, can somebody please explain to me how Monero works and why adopting Monero is going to offer me these kinds of protections? So in other words, just a basic cursory understanding of how it gets the job done, right? And in the technical world, we do a terrible job at this.
Yeah, I think I think you know the people building those amazing tools, they are sometimes so deep into it that they miss a bit the bigger picture or the connection with people who are not familiar with this technology. And in another life, I've also worked as a game developer, and I could see sometimes programmers they would make a super fancy new algorithm to render 3D graphics, and then the way they would show it to the public was by rendering a pink and yellow square on the screen, right? And me as the artist, I was like, oh man, we need something better than that. And I guess this is where we need people with a bit of an artistic touch to show and to break it down and to make it like easily digestible. I tried for the workshop I'm preparing with Tor, I tried to have simply a slide with a diagram with every type of relay that you have and how each are like related to each other. So trying to make something as simple and as straightforward. And this is something like if you go right now on the Tor project website, you cannot find this simple diagram, or you will find outdated diagram, and each diagram looks different because they were made in a different period. And then you don't really know anymore what you're looking at. And yeah, and I guess this is a call to people who are a bit into artists with an artist mindset to like come in and talk to the people who are like technically inclined, but maybe not so on the artistic and how to present this. Because at the end of the day, you need both, right? You need the strong technology, but you also need the people who draw Monero-chan and memes and cool diagram to explain how this works.
By the way, we also have entrepreneur in the room, so if you would like to speak, sir or madam, you may.
Nothing special, just thank you Shortwave Shortfair, because I noticed you are very, very proficient in doing a job being blind. So thank you very much, and very inspiring. You actually remember me, the famous mathematician called Euler, or Euler in French. He was also blind, but very proficient in geometry. So you are being very proficient in articulating all the Monero community in this way. So thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate it.
When we do
That's
these
awesome, man.
shows,
We couldn't agree more, by the way. I think I'm a little bit delayed here. But yeah, Shortwave, fantastic job, man.
Yeah, when we see these shows, these Monerotopia shows, I always find the most powerful shows are the artists or the and a lot of the time it might be to one person's taste, and then another band is to another person's taste or whatever, like maybe this type of designer. But the reason why I find them to be the most interesting shows, as well as the shows where new listeners get on stage and describe their experience and their onboarding and stuff, is I think that's actually the meat that the Monero community needs more than anything else. Is you know, watching Doug on his outreach operations, like buying pizzas or whatever, or using Cold Stone for some coin card thing. It's a real life example that you can point to say this system works and you can use it in normie land. And it's the same thing with these artists where they are making the case that there is a place for Monero in, you know, the creeping tyranny that we're all actually living through right now. And these things get so outside the realm of what a normal person experiences, that when we bring it home like that, when, I mean, you just go and you say like, can I buy some cow, please? Right? I would like to use this and here's why. Or when I try to, you know, make the case that right now, there are all these people running in a circle on a hamster wheel, you know, trying to make ends meet and so on. And you just make the case to them. You realize the government took like 50% of everything that you earned before you could even spend it, right? Monero forces them to at least make it voluntary again, if not defunds them and defangs them, right? Because when you start talking about like the deflation of the, you know, the value of fiat Fed notes because of the increase in the money supply and blah, 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 even people who understand it, it's not real to them, you know, it's not true. Like, because what they're doing on a day-to-day basis is not interacting with some banker somewhere about like the next wave of money printing.
Well, and for me to run that snowflake, it comes to no risk to me. I'm here in Germany behind the router. Is it like a basic explanation? It goes through me and then to exit node, and therefore I'm just supplying anonymous bandwidth?
Yeah, so if you run, even running a middle relay, like a normal Tor node, as long as it's not exit, it shouldn't cause any trouble, like legally speaking. The only trouble you might have when you run a public one is that some stupid website, they think, oh, now you're an exit node, and they just ban you. This is ridiculous, but this can happen sometime. Or they think you're a robot just because you're part of the swarm of servers. As for snowflakes, I don't think there is much risk. It will segregate all the traffic, and you will just be the entry point, and everything is encrypted 3 times. So you have no way to know, like, you cannot be possibly responsible for what's going on. And if you look at the distribution of node, most Tor node are like run in Germany at this point. So I wouldn't worry too much about it for that.
I wanted to go into the thing that Alaska Anon said, that when mining, usually a person mines at a loss, and also running these nodes, if it's an exit node, it could come to trouble to you. So where's the motivation? At least in Monero, you are running at a loss if you are starting to mine. At least I speak of experience. I'm trying to set up a pool myself now, and mining to shout out to pool.xmr.pt in Portugal if you want to mine there. You never mine at a loss, because I remember in 2020 when I had cash in the pocket and I want to go shop at the shop like shoes, I couldn't enter because I didn't get the V on the arm. And so you're like losing fiat, but you are mining Monero. It doesn't matter if it's not so much. It's an apples and orange comparison. So yes, you are mining at the loss if you consider euros, but you're not mining at the loss at all. It's like, yeah, you're creating oxygen for yourself, something like that.
Yeah, it's a good point. the way I describe it is, people have no issue paying some insane fees to get some platinum card, some credit card, and they think it's fancy and all of that, and then you have all and like they rationalize by, what, we need to pay fees so that the system stays secure. And I guess like running a mining node or a Tor node is similar. Yeah, you might invest a bit of energy and your time, but you're basically helping the network in both ways. So this is how I personally justify the costs to like run mining or Tor nodes and things like this.
And here in Germany, there is a huge opportunity for the people to start mining Monero because they're all into solar panels. Now you can lease like 40 kilowatts and like 40 solar panels for not so much money, and the batteries as well. And it's there. You see lots of places here in Germany that have roofs with solar panels, well, photovoltaic, and it's just a thing that people in Germany don't need it because they don't feel the inflation that much. Yeah.
By the way, speaking of art, this is an example of a poster I did that you might like.
I'm gonna look at
I
it
posted
later.
in the private.
Okay.
Yeah, I posted it in the private chat because I don't have a YouTube account.
Oh, okay. So somebody will have to take it and move it from private into the YouTube thing.
Guys, in terms of art too, I don't think I mentioned yet, but we're gonna have Sir Jams a lot down at Monerotopia, and he's gonna be running like an art installation, art exhibit, Monero artist displaying work. So reach out once again, Monerotopia at protonmail.com if you want to be a part of that in any way. I'll hook you up with Sir Jams, or just reach out to Sir Jams.
I thought it was kind of interesting. So I get on Twitter once a week, Friday afternoon, to check in to see when Monerotopia is going to be and what people have been saying about Monero for the previous week. And I'm sure anybody who does what I do has noticed that you will be consistently and permanently force-fed Bitcoin influencers. Like it's this never-ending deluge of Bitcoin influencers. And the best you can do is just try to ignore how much they talk and how little they know, right? And there was a post about how, would you rather have X amount of sats or X amount of gold, right? And of course, they're talking to their own like internal community. Like, of course, I'd love to have the sats over the gold, and I just responded with gold. And then a guy responded to me with, well, don't worry, that there's an infinite supply for you. And it just shows the absolute, like, just the unbelievable economic ignorance of these people. Because in theory, there's all of this gold, to them that equivocates to it's all going to be extracted and utilized and so on. And that's also one of the arguments that they often use for why Bitcoin is going to be better than Monero. And what they don't understand is, look, every time Bitcoin's price dips under its termination point, those Bitcoins will probably be forever lost, right? And you're going to have this unusable state of quote money. Like that's because that's one of the arguments, is that it, they have money and everything else is, infinite supply, this and that. When like the concept of just having a price equilibrium, right? So Monero will reach a certain price and it will eventually be every 2 minutes, 0.6 XMR is lost and 0.6 XMR is created. Just like with gold, when the price of extracting gold is the same as the value of the gold and there's no profit margin, that will be the price of gold, right? And they have no concept whatsoever of the fact that because that is the case, Monero is money. And because Bitcoin, and for one, they are still mining Bitcoin, and they will for like what, another 80 years or whatever.
2,140.
Yeah, and the thing is so they're already talking about something in terms that they will not live long enough to see the day where Bitcoin's supply is not growing. They will never, like 99% of them will not live long enough to see Bitcoin stop being mined. And not only that, but the incentive structure for mining Bitcoin is ever increasingly reaching zero, and so on. And then if you flip the argument, right, which is, okay, so if one is money and one is not, well, what are Monero people doing? Like, our entire focus is to create a circular economy, right? Like, that's what we're actually all about. And even if Bitcoiners were to go about trying to make a circular economy based on Bitcoin, they're going to have to figure out that hurdle, right? But then they're going to be absolutely clobbered by Gresham's law. So as it's growing in popularity, everybody's going to want to hold it and nobody is going to want to use it, right? But then as it loses its value as a currency, then you're going to have such a tight supply with such centralization, you will be in the same situation as we are with fiat, if not worse. And I find that to be very interesting, because for these people to use the argument that because there is an effectively infinite supply of gold, therefore it isn't money, when it's been money for 6,000 years. They've never bothered to check the merits of their own argument.
And Bon, I think it's Bon or Ban, it says that you're connected, but you don't have any devices. So if you would like to speak on stage, we need you to connect a microphone or something.
Yeah, no, that was me attempting to enter with my Android, but then it asked also for the video, and I have to go. I need to go on a subway and all of this, so probably the connection won't be good. So I wish you all the
Nice
best.
to meet you.
Yeah, thank you again for inviting me. I will continue to listen, and but yeah, I won't be able to answer. So see you later. Bye bye.
All right, it was
Thank you so
wonderful.
much, man.
It was
Man.
wonderful having you. We appreciate it very much, and feel free to come back.
Yeah,
Exactly.
thanks a lot for running this show, and yeah, I'm sure we will keep in touch in some way or another. Bye bye.
All right. So long, man. I'll be reaching out to you. All right. Good job, Courtwood.
Well, that's another thing about Zenu, because I think it also has a max supply of 21 million, does it not? And it's kind of strange user experience. Like, imagine my grandkids, they're going to say, but now it stopped mining, for example, BTC. But at my time, it was still mining. So I guess there's this concept that Monero is, so to speak, future proof, because the protocol is always the same. My grandkids will also have 0.6 XMR per 2 minutes. So, yeah.
And one of the things that I hope,
But I'm not sure about that Zenu thing. I'm not sure if it's 21 million capped. Perhaps anyone else.
I think they burn and create, though. You're talking about Xano, right? So they burn and create. Like, I think they have an algorithm where there's a fixed supply, but it's being kind of like churned in and out of existence, if that makes sense. So I would say it's an improvement over your typical fixed supply based on the little that I do know. And I have a lot of questions for the Xano team when we get there, because there's just a lot of things I haven't had time to look into. But, one of the things that I hope Monero as a community, especially the developers, never get fixated on is, we haven't had a long enough life cycle to know if the right answer was in fact 0.6 Monero every 2 minutes. There are some people right now that think that maybe the block reward should go up a little bit to increase the security prospects of the chain, right? But there are other people, and I actually find myself leaning slightly towards the latter, which is, well, no, because with adoption, you would get a spike in price, and then the spike in price incentivizes the mining, and then the increased mining incentive reduces the rate at which the value is spiking. Right? That's kind of like, but then there are still other people who obviously don't know how it would be coded, but at least in theory, like the tokenomics of it all. Well, what you could do is, as the price goes down, you could raise the block reward, and as the price goes up, you could reduce the block reward. But the problem with that I see is you could find yourself in a death spiral really quickly, right? So if the block reward is going up, and then another thing is now you're becoming even more dependent on price signals from things outside of the chain. And okay, so what mechanism are you using to establish the price?
Just ask Terra Luna how that went for them. Also, we have M. So if you would like to speak, M, just unmute and let us know. Otherwise,
hello.
Yep, we can.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I'm just driving by. M, just listening. And if I got something interesting to say, I'm ready. That's why I mic my microphone. I'm ready to go. All right.
That works. So if you have anything to pitch in, just unmute and let us know.
Yeah, thanks for getting me in.
So my biggest concern about trying to fix the price with something from outside of the chain is obviously, for one, that source of data has to be trusted, and then you're programming it into the chain. So personally, I think the ultimate solution to Monero's network security is price. You drive up the price by adoption. You drive up the price by basically you hold and buy a certain price.
To shift something in the conversation, I don't know if you guys the last week saw the interventions of Whitney Webb, because those guys are slapping hard on the ass of the Bitcoin masses, because you just see the Bitcoin related articles and videos he loved, and it's crazy. He obviously can't mention Monero, because if he only if she only mentions Monero one time, he's just automatically banned from all these Bitcoin communities. So she's perfectly knowable about what she's doing. So I think the division is bigger than ever before, because you see a lot of audience and interest on that type of she direct direct comparison between Bitcoin and CBDC videos, and topic is in all-time highs for Whitney Webb and also his audience. So we have something there, definitely. So thank you.
Well,
yeah, I tweeted out a good tweet with that regard this week. I don't know, Shortwave, if you want to bring up that, it was a big story, I think. I mean, Whitney Webb was basically articulating criticism against Bitcoin, the fact that it's co-optable, and theorizing how it could already be co-opted. And the Bitcoiners have now completely rejected her from the community, and it's I think it's like kind of representative of a bit of a tipping moment.
Well, she's most welcome here, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Trying to get her to participate in Monerotopia.
That is actually impossible. If she only mentioned one time the word Monero, he's automatically banned on the other media and communities. She's perfectly strict on that. She just talk about pure neutral discussion, but
Well, the thing that I said a few shows ago, actually on my first entry here on Monerotopia, was the argument of the amount of fastest machines. And no one ever talks about that. If Bitcoin has 1 million machines running that are the fastest, and Monero now, we spiked to 3 gigahashes of total global hash rate. So the amount of electricity being burned is not known for Monero because it's totally relative. A person can spend like 100 watts with an old laptop while I am with a new computer wasting like 30 watts but having a higher hash rate. The thing like also I wanted to say is I don't have anything against proof of stake, although I don't know anything about it. For
I'm
example,
not
it
trying
was
to
said,
interrupt, but I think XMRchat is working again. Shortwave, will you check? Go ahead, Slid.
Yeah,
Blocker.
sure. I'll take a look.
as long as the like one question I would have for the Zanu team, and I heard it once that the cost of attack is simply 10 blocks times 0.6 XMR. Well, I could go to a person that has 51% of the hash rate and tell, well, I pay you 10 times like 6 Moneros, and I didn't really get that point. But it is important to know, like the question is, after Zen would have a sufficient high hash rate, would it still have the proof of stake? Or does it only have proof of stake for to make the attack as costly as possible until like it reaches a tipping point, you know? Because there is a tipping point where Zen does not need proof of stake. And that I don't understand it, but that's a logical argument, don't you think?
Well, I'll tell you this. Both sides have an incredibly sound reasoning behind why they believe what they believe. Now, I will tell you this. A proof of stake model is definitely less secure in the whole game theory thing if that's all you are doing, right? But the combined proof of stake, proof of work thing versus entirely proof of work, there are so many good arguments on both sides. So I'll give you an example. With Monero's price at where it's at right now, I think I brought up 2 weeks ago, it would take about 1 day of the United States Department of Defense budget to basically like to really cripple the network for like a day or two, right? And in fact, it would take about half of that 1 day's Department of Defense spending. Now you would also have to figure out how much they get from, you know, drug dealing and, you know, quantum derivative operations and all. So they might be making a lot more money than, you know, what their budget is at Congress. So it might be like a quarter of a day or whatever. But the math is almost irrelevant because the point is fiat, because of its control over the economy right now, extremely large players could absolutely right now mess up the Monero network. But it would not be forever. It would be for a very short period of time. And if they wanted to maintain a sustained attack, they would be spending 1,000x the value of the attack. And it would really be just more of like a propaganda campaign, right? Like we took down the Monero network for, you know, 31 minutes or 55 minutes. Or
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the president of the United States.
Yeah, go ahead.
Appearing and saying, "Yeah, we control the dark net." Like, no,
yeah, with the
like
Tor network,
you
like,
control your
be
world,
lost
you
for a
know,
while
and
or whatever.
Monero controls the underworld or someone that Monero because there is no why. Like,
now on the flip side, you know, I've never heard anyone articulate it as well as I heard Arctic Mine articulate it, which is the problem with trying to do proof of stake is people are thinking of, let's call it token holders, right? They're thinking of them in terms of the simplicity of the network, you know. So I'll give you an example. I have Ethereum, you have Ethereum, that guy over there has Ethereum, and there's like some kind of staking process, and we are all acting in our own best interest. The minute that whole thing breaks down is when somebody is holding another person's crypto. Because if they have the keys in custodianship, they also have the power of the stake. not the owner of the coin, right? And it only gets worse when you bring into things concepts like smart contracts, or, you know, like, how do you even calculate this? Like, let's say instead of your traditional staking methodology, like what if you have like some kind of AI bot that's an escrow for a smart contract, or what? The problem is you get this ever expanding list of ways that the power of the actual owner of the token is being subverted by the fact that they don't have the keys for some reason, and so in other words, you have a major game theory problem. And go ahead.
I was going to say, we do have a super chat, so it does appear to be working. We got 1.4 Monero from AK Anon. We must support the continued maintenance of Xmrchat platform. Thanks, Monero Talk. We appreciate you, AK Anon.
Millinero, that was good.
Well, that's what it is. It's 0.0014 blah 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 blah. So instead of saying all that, you just say you just say 1.4 Monero.
Yeah, I love the fact that he's pushing this, even though it's probably not going to catch on for at least like 3 more years. But Shortwave, you are truly an avant-garde GigaChad. I love it. So, and it's working on me. I hope you know that. But like the idea of, okay, well, proof of stake versus proof of work. Like, I understand why at least Andre on Zano is saying, oh, this is the future of Monero. And don't get me wrong, he has a really good point. But my view of it is, well, proof of stake is not only not there yet, right? Because of all of the ways that you can subvert it with like custody problems or whatever. But one of his best arguments, the fact that you can't fire up a new chain, and because of the value of the crypto, if you fire up a new chain, then some whale in some other crypto or some fiat or whatever, or some whale with just like a tremendous amount of computing power can completely undermine a proof of work blockchain. But there is a certain point in which that's not true anymore. And for Monero, we are now at a level where only a significant effort by a state or major corporate threat actor, and when I say major, I mean like NVIDIA or like, you know, Microsoft, right? You would have to be worth a crap ton of money in order to pull this off. And then the thing is, well, NVIDIA or Microsoft, they have to bend their will to their shareholders. Or the other thing is the people who might be responsible for pushing some of this, you know, there might be legal repercussions for them having done something like that, especially if you take the idea that, you know, crypto assets are now basically enshrined in law as some form of economic asset. So therefore, by undermining the value of these assets, they have clearly caused harm to another person. They might be eligible for lawsuits and all of that. And then a state level actor, not only is it like all of that resource for such little fruit, right? But then beyond that, what you're probably doing is you're Streisand affecting thousands and thousands of people who already hate you, in the case of the government, right? Into realizing that you perceive this crypto to be a threat, right? So how many people aren't into Monero right now because they think that it's like the next CBDC or whatever is just the cryptos, right? Like, they don't know the difference between Bitcoin and Monero. Most of them have only heard of Bitcoin, or they think Bitcoin and crypto are synonymous. Or like, well, what happens if a state-sponsored activity is utilized at the cost of billions of dollars to try to subvert a blockchain? It only works for a certain period of time. And then if it got
that would be enough if you are attacking Monero. Like, I remember that was like 2,000 data centers in 5,000 data centers in America. And if you would boot up like 3 machines on each, like epics, IMD epics, then it would be like every day, just 6 hours. No one does transactions anymore, not because it's 51% attacked. You're not rewriting it. You're just putting empty blocks or spam filled blocks in it. Another thing you said is that there is a difference in the topology. If you have many mining nodes, it is better than if you have just one, or like in this case of the data centers, that is correct if you are not considering tunnels. But if you are doing tunnels, you can even have a huge data center where you partition the amount of machines, and then you send for each partition of the machines tunnels, and they go up for air like one in Asia, and there you are propagating the fluffy blocks. So yeah, so that's not really an argument, but it is if you take it to the limit, then you are correct. Like, you should have lots of CPUs in different localities if you're not considering tunnels. Yes.
You know, another thing about there was some discussions about what happens if this, that, and the other. So, you know, the discussion about if Russia was to attack a whole bunch of undersea cables and break up the internet into a splinter net situation, which is a real possibility. And there's actually plans on the table at every nation about switching from internet to splinter net. Well, how do you deal with that in Monero? Well, one of the points that I've been trying to make is it's less of a security threat for the overall integrity of the blockchain than people realize, which is, if I have two blockchains that have split up because of their connectivity problems, if I'm understanding this correctly, people who are spending from a wallet over here and people who are spending from a wallet over here, in the vast majority of cases, they're still only spending the coins that they have. Now, maybe in theory, one person spends from this chain over here, but since those blocks haven't updated over here, then they go over to the other nation and they spend from the other blocks over here, right? Now, there would be people who would be affected by that, and it would be the people who have received that Monero that is now double spent. And those would have to be resolved, right? But in the case of the overwhelm, and you can only do it twice if there's two splinter nets. If there's three splinter nets, you can only do it 3 times, and so on.
Well, as far as I understand it, that's why you have the 10 block lock time.
Yes, and
I
and
didn't have
that's one
dinner,
of the
so I
reasons
kind of-
why I know people hate it, but it's like, dude, I don't care, right? Because this is incredibly useful, this 10 block lock time, at undermining, you know, that whole initiative. Now, the splinter net thing would go beyond 10 blocks, right? So if Russia had their Monero chain over here and the United States had their Monero chain over here, and it was for a week, a month, a year, or whatever. But the other thing is, there are ways that, so for example, in Alaska, it would not be hard for us to get our chain synced with Russia's chain, you know, just from Siberia to Alaska, right? Or another thing is and there's a lot of other ways that you could resolve this, but beyond that, how many people would even be capable of double spending something that's already on chain? And how many people would actually be affected by having taken coins that were double spent coins? It would be a tiny, tiny number. And in the grand scheme of things, think about the losses that are incurred from creating splinter nets on a supranational level, right? So these people are going to sacrifice like their access to the global economy in order to try to create a few double spends in a tiny little blockchain. And I mean literally a few, like a tiny, tiny number of double spends, right? But the thing is we're at the point now where we're thinking about these concepts and we're trying to figure out how a couple of people don't get burned for a couple $1,000s worth of Monero, right? Whereas the government would be, the governments involved would be sacrificing hundreds of billions of dollars to try to undermine a few $1,000s worth of Monero. Like, let's keep this in perspective here.
I remember the amount. Arctic Mind said $60,000 a day to body. So that's not much, man. And that really worries me, you know, because I'm out of like conviction here, you know, and I want it to work, and it is. We are winning, and we are going to continue to win. Doesn't matter. They can like put the photos up there and say, we spammed it for 6 hours. So what? We're gonna be here tomorrow and the day after, and I'm still gonna mine at a loss. I don't care. And when they come with the micro regulations next year, I don't know which proxy I'm going to use. There's nothing to see here if you go to pool.npr.org.
Why mine at a loss? You just figure out who's undermining you and plug into their outlet.
And just remember too that even if they attack, like even if we get a government-sponsored attack, the only thing that they can do is purposely mine empty blocks, because since the transaction from, to, and amount are hidden, if they let any transaction through, they have to let all transactions through because they can't tell where transactions are going. So the only thing they can possibly do is
that is
purposely
not
mine
correct,
empty
man.
blocks.
That
No?
Well, no, they could do their own transactions.
exactly,
I think is where you're going.
As far as I'm
They
seeing
could just only allow their own transactions.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
But I mean, I would also point out like that would be a pretty big red flag to the people who are involved in Monero. Like
basically you just truncate it, and like let's say you do n-10 and you truncate the chain, and then the largest with the most cumulative difficulty wins, as far as I know. And so yeah, they just construct their own blocks. They have nothing to win with that, you know.
And the thing is Shortwave's point, even though it's technically untrue, does still stand, which is, okay, so not only are they going to try to like mine these blocks, but then they're going to try to put only their transactions through. Like they're going to opt for only sending their transactions through. But think about what happens to the block rewards, right? So what happens
the more
when
back they truncate, the more expensive it gets. Yeah.
Yeah. So like even in a system where they're trying to prevent spending and they're sending their own blocks through and stuff, well, now you know, at least for those transactions, you know a couple of things that you might not have known otherwise. So that then on top of that, you've got your block rewards spiking, and this is another reason why I say, you know, it's not like we need the price to go up tomorrow. And the stable coin effect, I mean, we didn't have price report today, but just a quick update, even though I'm not even half the man body is at the price report thing. But Monero is still a stable coin. Gold is still doing well, and everything is fake and gay, and it's all a Ponzi scheme. Get out of the system as quickly as possible. There's your price report for today.
I love it.
Like,
well, I'm suspicious that body. I speculate that there are this thing like strategies which you call like oscillators, and I was thinking about the best strategy, and I think it's like an attractive thing to body that it is always swinging around 150 euros. Like, I guess that's the best strategy you can do. Like have the signal at 152, which is the average, as Shortwave Surfer said, and then just like whenever you don't have to like force the speed on it, you just wait when it goes down and when it goes up and stuff.
Well, the other thing is I think that
we're make money out of it. Sure,
we're seeing those averages take certain steps in a stage-like fashion, right? So the average seems to go up in steps, and it also goes down in like elevators, right? So some kind of drastic event happens to Monero, and then the average price drops down considerably, and then it just steps its way back up over time to an ever-increasing higher average. But it happens in chunks instead of kind of like a formulaic slow creep to the top, which if you're using averages, it'll look that way. that the thing is we tend to see it like, okay, it's 120. And then all of a sudden over the course of a week, it just becomes like, okay, it's 130 now. It's 140 now. It's 150.
Yeah, another question is, what is the stable coin that you could use like instead of Tether? If I write that strategy, I can only connect to Binance anyway.
Well, here's the thing, Slave Blocker, is I think that Tether is like the natural progression, but not the evolution of crypto. And what I mean by
cannot
that
cash
is,
out with Tether. If I keep the Tether, like I cannot send it to a bank account in Germany. That's a huge hassle for me. Like,
well, yeah,
okay,
and that's kind of
within
what
limits, but I don't want to make fancy stuff with financial
what you do
institutions.
is what you do is you simply go on
the tax
XMRBazaar.
authority.
You just simply go on XMRBazaar and click on the buy button, and then put in what you want to buy, and then somebody will buy it for you.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I was going with it, which is Tether was a stepping stone for people to be able to get in and out of dollars in a digital sense, but that doesn't mean that one Tether means that you can go to the bank and go get $1. What they were eventually doing was, so they would exit into Tether if they wanted to dollarize, and then they'd go back into like Bitcoin or something, and then they'd cash out their Bitcoin for the fake fiat that's real fake fiat, right? But the thing is I genuinely believe that the natural evolution of this, give it 5 years or so, is a crypto, almost certainly Monero, is going to become the new Tether. Because Monero is ever increasingly pegged to real goods and services. And you'll be able to on-ramp and off-ramp directly for real goods and services. And it's already very easy to turn Monero directly into your fiat of choice in almost any country if you either know the right people or you go through the appropriate steps. And now with things like Haveno, I mean, people are getting more and more fluent in being able to just instantly, like, I don't know, what is it, Zelle, or I've been out of the fiat system for so long, I don't even know how it fucking works anymore. But like they have all of these like Cash App-y type of things where they just swap, fiat for Monero, right? Or vice versa. And that's why I'm saying I think that the natural progression of these things really is Monero is the next Tether. There might even be steps in between, but it doesn't matter because Monero is ever growing its adoption in real physical stuff. And almost by force, it is ever decreasing its dependency on like government sanctioned on and off ramps. And there you go. Like it is better Tether because it's being forced to adapt more effectively. And the price for Monero is so fucking stable. It's ridiculous, right? It's like, I mean, people associate crypto as a euphemism for like volatility. And it's like, just look at Monero, man. It is so stable. Like it's actual money, people.
And it was just funny when I saw yesterday Cabanha's like talk, like they're using IP addresses like from Colombia just because they're suspect, and like it's so funny. It's all so heuristic. They have the like it's all guesswork. But that's a huge rant, and I should have dinner. And yeah.
Well, I mean, think about that too. It's like, so everything that they're doing to try to compromise Monero is almost entirely heuristics and guessing. Well, that becomes less and less effective over time. And not only that, but they're exploiting stuff that the developers have already found ways to correct, but it would take, it's not even orders of magnitude. It's like impossibilities, right? Of corrections with, with like full chain membership and so on. And then on top of that, the same people who are trying to use heuristics to figure this shit out are also decoupling from the systems that they use to peg it to a real human being. So I can't just take my Monero and go on an exchange and cash out anymore. Well, that's the data that they needed to even make it usable in the first place, right? And so now it's like, well, this amount of Monero was swapped for this amount of Bitcoin, and then it was cashed out on this place. And But the thing is like they've basically undermined their own mechanisms for trying to deduce the use cases of Monero by trying to use those tools for Monero.
And by pushing it more. Go ahead.
I'd rather hear what you have to say.
Oh, I was just going to say, and by pushing it peer-to-peer, yeah, people are using things like PayPal and Cash App and whatever, and those things are not great, but you're not going to know whether I took $100 and went and bought my friend dinner, or whether I took that $100 and bought Monero. You're not going to know that because I'm not going to say it, and they're not going to say it either. So they can't.
And all we really know is that people love to buy crack on the internet. That's all we
That's
really
true.
Yeah, I mean, personally, though, Slave Blocker, like, I do really actually believe that the future of Monero is to become the new stablecoin. And that's going to further push adoption. And what'll happen is, like, it will still be super stable, but you'll see the next, like, stair step, right? You'll see the next, like, okay, it goes from 150 to 190 or whatever. And then it'll plateau there for a little while because certain communities within the crypto space, they now use it as their stable coin. But the thing is then that will leave like kind of the border of the dark web and the clear net. And then it'll become more widely known and the technology will get easier to use where people will be like, oh, when I want to switch to something stable from my degenerate gambling, I just switch to Monero, and it'll stair step again to like 260, 280, whatever. Right.
And then it will be the only one. Like, are you such a Monero maxi?
Hold up. By the way, we have SA who's joined us. So if you would like to say something, SA, just unmute and let us talk with you. If you don't, then that's fine as well. You don't have to if you don't wish to.
So I do not think that it will be the only one, but I think at the very least for normies and for business people, it will basically be the only one. Sort of like there is an American Express, but who the fuck actually uses it? You know what I'm saying? Like you've got your Visa and your MasterCard or whatever. Monero will become the Visa of the stablecoin, where it's just the default stable coin for if you're going to do your gambling. But the reality is by increasing that adoption, you're going to see, we'll call it the Argentina effect, right? Where people first use it for gambling and then they start using it for trade because it's like, why even swap? Why even take the losses? That person's just going to on-ramp and go back to the gambling table. And then people who aren't gambling but still want to use Monero, they'll just keep using Monero, right? And that's the thing is, it's such a one-way train, right? Because you can't legislate it away. You're not going to undermine it's pegged to real-world stability qualities. It's only going to get more so. And then furthermore, the more people are using it as like a dollarization mechanism or whatever, the more people are holding it to protect their store of value from, you know, the ups and downs of the crypto market, and then the ups and downs of the asset market, and then the ups and downs of the gold market. All of the sudden, Monero has basically become this thing that people just understand has this fixed or increasing value. And now people are even more willing to accept it as payment. And now you have your circular economy.
We have a super chat from Gaudy Legend of 1.4 Millinero. Says Monero because unlike wet farts, it doesn't leave a trace. Your dirty crypto, right arrow, image of dirty underwear, right arrow, your shiny Monero, right arrow, image of shiny Monero. So thank you for the super chat there, sir. We appreciate it. And go ahead.
SA, would you like to chime in, please?
Hey there. Yeah, you guys can hear me fine? I'm just checking my microphone. Yeah,
it's got some clipping
just
to
make
it.
Sure that the wire isn't moving because it statics out whenever the wire moves, I think.
Yeah, so you might want to be careful with that wire. But otherwise, yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, fine. So I think Xmrchat was down for like half an hour or something. I'm not sure. But if you guys know like the moment that it went down, we can just debug it furthermore. But just in case, we noticed that it's down, and we just brought it up. It was just some technical issue on the server side. And if anything goes wrong, like if you guys notice anything like such stuff, you can just email the support at xmrchat.com, and we will just check it and bring it up.
Okay.
By the way, I noticed you guys aren't streaming on Twitch. That's why I just noticed the tips aren't coming up on the how do you call it, on the StreamYard. That's how I noticed. I'm not sure if I just thought that it's our issue, but I just checked it out and you guys weren't on Twitch. So
yeah, that's not my department. They have me as a co-host today, and because Tux couldn't be here, and I'm not totally familiar with that. And Doug and Sunita didn't do it because Doug is out and Sunita is doing other things. So that's just not going to happen today.
that was my bad, guys. That was because I was on the road today, and Sunita forgot to hit the Twitch button.
oh, it's fine. I just want to make sure.
But
that
thank you
it's-
so much, man, for actually jumping on and clarifying what's going on with that, and appreciate your contribution, obviously.
Yeah, sure thing.
For those of you listening, if I'm understanding this correctly, SA's work on XMRchat is completely funded by your contributions to the XMR chat here on Monero Talk right now. So if you want to chime in the conversation and make a generous donation to SA and his crew, it is greatly appreciated. They also love to have Monero, and you can help right now.
You can. To the best of my knowledge, that is correct. Doug donates, from what I understand of Doug's thing, he donates everything that he gets from the Monero Talk to XMR chat, but
with the exception of certain guests,
right? And he'll say
it is always disclosed.
If he's going to do it, he's going to disclose it. Yeah, exactly.
No, I can't.
So, SA, is that true? Are you one of the contributors who maybe might get to eat today if enough people make a chat contribution right now?
Yeah, thanks about that. It was actually like we talked about this like on when we were introducing Xmrchat like for the first time on the show. Like I'm actually one of the contributors. Mainly, it's Fiat-Demise that actually supports us, and actually like the host of this show as well. And actually, mainly the tips that are being done for the contributions are like keeping us up, and like we really appreciate them. And yeah,
you have me thinking.
If you want to upgrade SA's cardboard box to an actual apartment, you too can help the poor free software developers right now with your donations. In fact, you know what? It just worked on me. I'm going to do it right now because
that just makes me think of those like commercials where it's like feed the hungry children or whatever.
It's like Esther's over there. He's like this cute little kitty with like the matted hair, like, please feed me.
That's hilarious. Well, it doesn't sound like people have much to say. And if that's the case, then we'll go ahead and end it. Although, if you guys have anything to say, you're welcome to.
At least let me get this tip through. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead and get your tip through. And if you don't mind, read it, Alaska. I would appreciate it because you're probably a faster reader than I am, having to like blow it up and read magnified. In the meantime, let's do an ad spot for Monero Nodo. Get your Monero Nodo and run your own Monero node with this chain analysis video leak that has been published multiple places on ODYSEE, on YouTube, different places where you can still see this video, even though it was taken down. Get your Monero nodo, and you will stop that problem because you will be using your own Monero node, and so your IP address will not be compromised by fucking chain analysis.
Yo, yo, Eminem here.
You have a yo-yo?
What up? Yo, yo, we have a yo-yo.
What's up, sir?
Oh,
I'm going to read this super chat real quick. Hold on just a second.
Okay.
So from SA is a saint, we have 0.0595 continued. Monero, we love free software. Thank you. Thank you for your generous donation. Myself, we will be sure to buy SA a sandwich as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and I think you could get SA a pretty nice sandwich for 59 Monero too. That's a pretty nice sandwich.
Thanks for the donation. Yeah, thanks for the donation. By the way, I just want to mention out. That like we are trying to point out, like, figure out multiple ways to be able to connect Xmrchat to the streams. For example, like we integrated the Twitch bot, so whenever a tip is going on, whenever a tip has happened, we just send it using the bot in there, so the streamer can see. We also have created some simple web page where you can add it to your OBS. So technically, StreamYard doesn't support it, but just in case if there's any other platforms streamers are using and they're actually integrating it with OBS, they can just copy the link. It's actually in beta, so it might somehow go wrong, but if it does, just let us know. So you can just...
I do have one quick suggestion. So the real meat and potatoes of this site is basically in the recent tips column. You have your continuing stream of, people who have tipped or whatever, and you've already got it where you can kind of like filter out certain words or whatever. I think it would be kind of cool to have just the text window as an overlay that you can just drop into your stream feed, right?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that I don't like is, how do you get it into the browser where it would show up on a tab? Now with OBS, it's pretty obvious how that would work, but and kind of the downside of StreamYard of being like all web-based. Honestly, I wonder if
the StreamYard thing is pretty slick because it's coming up in your comments.
But I wonder if you couldn't just like get a hold of the StreamYard people and be like, hey, can you set up some kind of like API plugin where I can just like drop in the recent tips streaming text box thing from this? I'm sure they would probably do it. Like if you're contacting them as a person who uses the service.
What is the idea though? Because so right now it's pretty seamless in the way I use it, right? I see all the comments coming up in the comment feed that I'm normally watching anyway. And then if I just click a button on a super chat, I can bring it up on screen. So I can bring it up when I do and don't want to bring it up. What is the what do you
How, for example, if somebody comes on stream, like it kind of default puts a box in the stream where the feed is being streamed and so on. It would be nice to have like a little plugin that will drop the text scroll, right? Just like you have private chat, comments, recording, but to have it on the display interface, right? And the thing is, I wouldn't be surprised if SA could just like reach out to them and be like, hey, could you please add this? Because this would be amazing for all of your customers. I work with one of your customers. I know that other people would love this. Could you please add this little, API plugin type thing? They would probably do it. I'm willing to bet they would. Because if they're customers, if that's what they want, they're going to do it. So.
All right, so before we just integrating Twitch, I actually asked their support. They have just live chat and stuff like that. I actually asked them to give me ways to just so that I can bring up something completely custom onto the screen. And they just said that we don't have the API, we don't have the exposed API, so like there is no easy way out for this. So what we did, we just used Twitch so that when a tip is done, we just send the normal message on Twitch using the XMR chatbot. And the streamer, if he wants, he can just click on it and display it on the stream like that. Just it's basically outside StreamYard. It doesn't support it. We actually tried to just build somehow some kind of a crowd or something like that, so that it can, when a tip is done, it goes as it is joined to the StreamYard as a guest. So you can just maybe use the API, use the internal API of StreamYard and be able to show the tips. But it wasn't like the best way and the easy way. If the StreamYard team actually provides it for us, it will be much more easier. But yeah, we actually haven't asked them to do it. Yeah.
But isn't it the simplest way? Like, I guess here the moderator is looking at the super chats, like to make a button to copy paste. But I don't know about the special symbols, you know. But that, and then like post it wherever else, you know.
I mean, the way it is right now is pretty amazing. But my concern, you know, is just like from the adoption standpoint. Like if StreamYard were to say, okay, all you have to do is put your hyperlink for xmrchat.com, you know, into this little button here, and then it'll show up on your screen. You can drag it around, move it however you want. Like, I really honestly think if they understood that this could end up being a means of adoption by which their customers are actually going to get paid and therefore going to continue to use the service, they'll probably do it. I mean, every web dev that I know, if they feel like it is something that their customers want, they're going to do it.
Yeah, technically, like if it supported OBS behind the scenes, it could be done even right now, because we have the OBS page from you can just copy your OBS page from Xmrchat if you are logged in as a streamer, and you can just drop it on the side of the screen, and if any tip it happens, it just shows it up. Right now, there's just single animation just pops up, but again, if you just see if it's working fine, we can add customization and stuff. But for StreamYard, unfortunately, that was not the case. So specifically for this, we have to use Twitch for now. But yeah, if there are better ways and easier ways, we will be glad to use them. Definitely, yeah.
I could also see XMRchat becoming a lot of other really interesting things. I mean, for one, I just want you to know that I think you guys did a killer job on this. It's a really, really good job. It's very professional. It does what it's supposed to do, easy to use. But I could see it being adapted. Hold on a second.
Yeah, I've been thinking about some ideas too. Let me hear what you got. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, and this is kind of like a fringe example, but as an example, like as a support page for other things too, right? So I mean, let's just, for example, like maybe the Nodo, right? So let's say you could put like this public node or this Nodo in our community, like this is its XMR chat page or whatever. And you know, or like just all of the other ways that you could use like a tip service and make your comments available anonymously to anybody interested.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was thinking
there's a lot of places where that would have a tremendous amount of value, or like international church service broadcasts, I think would be enormous, right? Especially like, let's say you were doing ministry in a country that you're like a persecuted individual and you were, you know, streaming that. I mean, that would be enormous. Or, well, I digress, but I'm just saying, just the ability to tip somebody remotely and anonymously, and their ability to collect it without interference has a tremendous amount of value. And I think that people should be putting it in their Twitter bios and all kinds of other stuff.
Yeah, I'm thinking along the lines of the next kind of use case being a way to contact people, right, directly. So you're paying to be first in line in terms of connecting with somebody. We've seen attempts of this made, like even in Bitcoin, and in the early years, or kind of I forget the app or concept that was built around that, but basically being able to pay a tip, pay a fee to get your message to somebody directly, right? So imagine I'm using this, Vic is using this, whoever it is, right? And if somebody wants to kind of get first in line with getting a message to them, they would use this to do it. So maybe there's a nice interface that could be built where if you're running an app, you'd be running the Xmrchat app on your side as a person that's willing to be contacted directly if people are paying Monero to do so. And just really just a slick way of making sure that person is notified, right? You can even maybe even you're adding in your phone number, right? But the system isn't so texts can be forwarded or, but basically coming up with a way where it becomes the primary way to kind of contact somebody directly, and they could still there'd be a price, a market set around the demand for if you want to kind of be first in line for being able to.
You would need a way to up your bid with that, though, Doug.
Paid email, or Patreon messages, basically. That's what it sounds like you're talking about.
Yeah, like a LinkedIn Connect for back in, right? A way to pay to connect to somebody, right? So that that your message is going to them. And
you would need a way to link your bid. Like, let's say you put in $5, but you're too low on your bid. You would need to be able to put another 0.001 Monero until let's say every week. Here's the use case. So let's say there's somebody with 20,000 followers on stream that you on fuck is it called X, right? And you want to get a message out to those people. So you do I'll pay 5 Monero for you to make a Twitch short video about such and such concept. Well, let's say, every week I do one video for the highest bidder, right? Well, let's say people keep outbidding you. You need a way to connect an additional bid to your previous bid to raise the pool, right? And then a person could say, if bids are crossing this threshold, then I'm going to up it to 2 videos a week or 3 videos a week to meet the demand, right? That would be another thing that would be interesting. If let's say if the same naming scheme is used, it'll aggregate all of the people who used that name. So maybe 5 people could place that bid, right? What do you think, SA? He's lost in pondering, or maybe he doesn't know he's muted. He's going on and on about all kinds of technical shit. What?
Lost in the wilderness.
But yeah, if a person were able to, as an example, anybody who donates under this name, I will aggregate all of the donations under that name. And if that bid reaches this threshold, I'll make that video. But wouldn't it be more interesting if you could connect it to a previous chat, right? Then and it just keeps adding to the pool of how much has been released for this particular topic or for this particular idea. That would be a lot to figure out, but it can be done.
Well, in the last case of the Brazilian thing on X, is that you could pay someone to go on X against the law, That's okay. You pay for someone to connect,
If anyone wants to pay me to break the law, I'm really cheap. Just saying. I think after we waited for SA to chime in for a while, he unmuted right as we started ranting again. And it's just why do I have to be such a clown, man?
No, come on, don't say that. I'm sorry, I was just listening. I think from the point I just understood what you said was something about having some goals and allowing tippers or donors to just when tipping, they just select a specific goal to tip, and once it reaches the threshold and the maximum that is set, basically like the streamer would do something. Is that the thing that I just understood from your explanation?
That would be one way to do it. It's like kind of integrating some of the functions of Kuno, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe just reach out to the Kuno guy and be like, hey, why don't we like integrate? And then you could go a step further. You could make like an onion version.
Or even better, you make like a pool of capital such that the first official politician that tweets about Monero gets it, you know, like that.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Actually, the thing is, the interesting fact is the guy from Kuno called Redan, he actually, like when we were building it, we had some challenges to overcome. He actually was the main point we actually made it this far. So if he wasn't there for helping us, we might couldn't have made it this like this as like this. So like big shout out to them as well.
Yeah, no doubt. The dude is a
definitely
fucking
kudos.
Chad, bro. He's such a badass.
Yeah, exactly.
He's helped a lot
Very
with
impressive.
XMRBazaar as well and giving advice to us and Anarchia. Yeah, very helpful guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's building schools in Venezuela and he's building scams in Cuba. And like, I mean, what a badass.
Yeah, really, seriously.
The beauty of the free market. I equally condone scams and wholesome projects. It's a great thing. I think we should all right now make a page on behalf of like some senator somewhere and be like, this is a pool of money that is being held specifically for the first senator who says,
out of
people
respect
love
and
to buy
honor
crack.
for the person and cause, like the politicians are important people in this world. They should be, at least. If there are, then they should be important.
The first senator to buy crack on the internet can use this.
What if we connect it to? I don't know if there's a way to do this in a way that won't piss people off. Well, it shouldn't be any. It'd be opt-in, right? So there'd be a way where people can claim Xmrchat accounts that were connected to Twitter accounts. So then you could just start sending these people tips to their Twitter accounts. So you could
like create the incentive for them to go grab the XMR
right.
that's already
So
been
like
donated.
Like if Trump wants to come grab all the XMR that's been sent to him, he just has to log in with his Twitter account, and then he gets the wallet.
Well, I know that login with Twitter used to be possible back before it became X and they shut down their APIs. I don't know if that's still a thing or not. Like it used to use like the Twitter as an SSO, like a single sign-on type thing, like how Google and Facebook work. I don't know if that's still possible today or if them shutting down the APIs and stuff like that has killed that. I'm not sure.
I think I proposed this to Fiat Demise or something. Yeah, I'm not sure if that exists, if that's possible with X. It should be, right? I'm sure it is.
Actually, well, I don't know how you do that on the back end, but that's a great idea, Doug. Like the important politicians would receive like a chat, like on their X or Twitter or whatever, saying that there is so and so much XMR waiting for you. That's really great idea, and like a proof that they then, but I don't know how it works. Like that they then claimed it, you know.
Yeah. At one point, Alaska, actually your mute toggle is on the wrong thing as you expect. So you talk and you mute yourself just in case. So you notice that. Yeah, actually that's why.
I'm not muted now. Good.
Yeah. By the way, yeah. Actually, like right now, the way it works is when a tip happens, actually there is no middle wallet from Xmrchat. It directly goes to the streamer wallet with the payment ID, and we just listen on the payment ID. And if the tip is happened, we just know that who paid the tip. That's how it works for now. But if we add the idea of claiming the tip, we would have to just have somewhere on our backend side, so just holds it, and when someone logs in, I think we can have a login with Twitter. Again, I'm not sure after the updates, but if that happens, we can just say, okay, if they logged in and by the way, we would have to keep it in our own wallet from Xmrchat. And once they log in, we just transfer it to them manually or automatically. It doesn't
See,
really...
that would be the dangerous part, because then you would be holding funds and you
Yeah,
could
yeah.
potentially get money transmitter issues. So that
Yeah, we definitely
that
don't
might
want to be
something.
holding funds. We got to do it in
Yeah.
a way where we're never custodying any funds.
I'll do it. Let him come.
But you can always post to the target account on X, on Twitter or whatever, right? So if you don't do
So
it, like if you are blocked by one, then you use another one, you know.
I just realized that no, that would not be a money transmitter violation. It is not. And the reason is people are voluntarily and knowingly giving money to another individual who has the intention of giving up that money to somebody else. You are not the custodian of the funds. You are merely aggregating to somebody who has not opted into collecting the funds. You see what I'm saying? Like, as of right now, all of the cases that have been, you know,
no, but it gets
providing
too
a
complicated,
service.
you know. It gets too complicated. Can't be evil is better, man. Just separate the thing, like
Well,
if then
that would
automated.
be akin to saying, if I were to call up a gas station and say, I found somebody's stolen credit card on the side of the road, or I found somebody's purse on the side of the road, I'm going to drop it off at your gas station and that person is going to come and pick it up. There is no, or at least in the United States, not only is that not illegal, but that's a protected activity. And in fact, in Europe, there's all kinds of laws about like giving CPR or returning stolen items, where it is actually a protected action legally. You're not a custodian, and not only that, you're not making any money on it. So it's not a business or a service. It's akin to saying, I have left this money with this trusted individual for you to claim, and you have 30 days to claim it, or we're going to give it away to, you know, a school in Venezuela or whatever. Like, now the Venezuela part might be illegal, but I would love to go to court for building a school in Venezuela. That would be a dream come true for me.
I was actually thinking about the part where, like, if they don't claim it, yeah, but you just mentioned it by that part, by the ending part. There was actually, like, it would be some issue if they if it just never came up and just say, hey, I want it. That would be just.
But how do you force, like, I have a Twitter account, I get some message, and how do you force me to claim it and not someone else? I don't get that.
It's basically like when you're trying to log in using Twitter on Xmrchat, we know your username that you have just logged in, so we can verify that it's you. I mean, like, you have when we are connecting your Twitter to Xmrchat, you can see that if it's you, if it's not.
Couldn't it work like, I mean, the way I envision it is, you know, let's say I wanted to send a tip to Trump right now, right? Trump doesn't currently have a Monero wallet. Well, I go to xmrchats.com as a tipper looking to send a tip to Trump. There's a feature where I could just put in Trump's Twitter address as the person that I want to send the tip to. If I'm the first person doing this at the moment, it's generating a Monero for that account. It's creating the account at that point for Trump's Twitter account, right? And it's associating a wallet with it, and my tip is getting sent there. And it's doing it in a way where it's where the wallet is created, we don't have any access to it, right? And then is it technically feasible to kind of encrypt it? And then when the next person comes to tip, it's just going to go to that same wallet address that was already created and associated for Trump. And the next person comes to tip to Trump, it's not creating a new one again at that point. But then when Trump finally logs in with his Twitter account, he is given it decrypts his seed at login. So we're not sending him any Monero. We're just decrypting his seed for him, and we at no point have any access to the Monero.
And
you
very
could set a
very
time lock.
important, very important is that the proof should be cryptographic. Like then when he logs in from his page to Super Chat, then he claims it, the seed becomes clear, and the tweet that is then as a proof that he claimed it, yay, Trump claimed his XMR, that should be cryptographic as well. I don't know how it works, but that would be great, yeah.
I think it would be cool to have a time lock where if somebody makes like one of these auto-generated wallets, like the default behavior is if it goes unclaimed after 180 days, it gets donated to like the Electronic Frontier Foundation or something, you know, and the person who creates it first gets to set where it's donated to. And so like even, you know, where the money goes, but that becomes public. So if Trump doesn't claim it after X period of time, it gets donated to such and such XMR wallet. And you could just pick some random wallet where...
No, you just start making a path of like all the politicians that claimed it, and then if you don't claim it, then another politician will claim it, you know? Stuff like
if it goes unclaimed, I'm going to buy crack on the internet for this homeless person automatically in 12 days. Like,
but on a like a lower, like obviously somebody like Trump, right, would be the ultimate target. But on a much lower level, just, you know, libertarians that have podcasts and whatnot, we're trying to get these people to use StreamYard, but start using it in this way where we're auto setting up accounts for them based on their Twitter. And then we'd be tweeting it out, right? You'd be tweeting it out to them, being like, hey, check it out. Check out your page. You've got, you know, 10 comments waiting for you. You got $100 in Monero sitting for you right here. All you have to do is log in to continue to receive your tips.
That's true. So people like Aaron Day or...
Right. So well, Aaron Day is already using Xmrchat, but yeah, anybody, right? Anybody like, you know, Joe Rogan, right? Like we could start one for Rogan, and, you know, we'd be sharing...
Alex Jones.
Right. Yeah, but they yeah, exactly. And they'd see that all they do is claim it, right? The page would be public too for people to visit to see the tip page. So you'd see all the super chats coming in, and then it would just be for them to claim it.
you know, a place where this would be really interesting to do it would be like talk radio shows that are, you know, like those AM talk radio shows. Because it would basically force them to at least like acknowledge the existence of the internet in most cases. You know?
I say, what do you think, man?
It's actually very impressive idea to just bring people in. I actually like it's a clever idea to bring people to use it. But as you guys are talking, I'm constantly thinking about the implementation of these ideas. Like, what each of you say something, I say, okay, how can we do this? How can we approach this method? But yeah, I think it's doable. But yeah, I think it can be done. There's nothing that can't be done in this in the development
imagine
world.
on this show, like the viewers would then know that Trump is getting tipped, you know, to free Ross because he's working for us, right?
Right, we could
and because that is a heresy and stuff like that. But like people would be motivated to start like gathering funds, you know.
Exactly. Ross has a Twitter account. We'd start sending him his tips and his the messages. Full disclosure.
Could you imagine the effect on price it would have if all of the sudden, like all of these people who currently pay like 30% of their super chats or whatever to such and such whatever, but the incentive to tip there is the fact that your chats will be read. If all of a sudden they gave priority to Xmrchats of any amount, right? It's like, so you can pay $10 to give me $6 by using like the YouTube system. But if you use this third-party website that Google has no authority over, then I will read it no matter what the amount is, right? like that would be so huge, and it would create such an interesting dilemma for these companies that, you know, like Twitter, YouTube super chats are like a pretty big revenue stream for YouTube just generally, right? And how many people don't say things on YouTube as to not lose their super chat functionality is another interesting thought on this level.
That is definitely
Well,
so
if you
true,
use
because
YouTube,
tons of
use it
people-
with UBlock Origin, and it's a great thing. You can use a VPN and make any anon account, and it's great. For me, I use it. I don't care. Also, to come
If
on
you have
here.
NewPipe on your phone, I think it actually makes you 1.5 inches taller if you use NewPipe on your phone.
Full disclosure, this Twitter concept, I actually pitched this to Vic many years ago, and then obviously he's implemented the tipping to Twitter if you put accounts. If you put, I guess you just, what's the process there? You just have to put a Monero address in your Twitter profile.
Yeah.
But I actually, this idea of onboarding people by sending it to their Twitter without them yet having an account was something pitched a while ago. But I never, for some reason, I didn't think of it in terms of XMRchat, but it would work beautifully with that. That basically is the same concept.
Well, I mean, you already have the three core ideas. You have your GoFundMe with Kuno. You have your streamer super chat thing with XMRchat, and then you have your Twitter bio, whatever I don't know. Twitter makes no sense to me. I have no idea why people like it so much, but I'm trying. I'm trying so hard. Like, you got a whole day out of me, bro. Like almost every week you get like a full hour of me pretending to care about people's opinions on Twitter. You are a powerful salesman. But that said, you have all three. You just got to integrate them, and then you got to make an onion version, and then publish the code. Just in case this ever goes down.
The XMRchat is open source. It's published, right? SC.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah, it is. But I'm saying once you integrate the three, you know what I mean? Like, because that would be a lot of work. That would be really nice to just have out there available to everybody. Like that. If you were to integrate Kuno, XMRchat, and the Cake Wallet Twitter feature thing all into one location, and the code was still public and readily available for anybody to use. And then you just kick all these podcasters in the like, all right, it's here, use it, it's free. And by the way, after you make your first 5,000, don't forget that SA was hoping to eat this week. So,
all right, guys, it's been 4 hours. It's after 3 o'clock. So any last words? And then I'm going to go ahead and shut it down, I think.
All right.
Monero, because there is no why.
Shortwave's pull the plug. Yeah, people got to get back to their lives. We could go all day. This is an awesome show. We somehow overcame the obstacles as always. Shortwave, man, thanks for stepping up.
And everybody remember that you are saving $20,000 by purchasing your Monero Nodo today, because I expect the price of a Monero Nodo to go up $20,000 when people find out how incredibly sleek and cool these things are. And I mean, they're already such an anomaly that something so high performance could be available for such a low price. Buy your Nodo today. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, have a great weekend.
Thank you for joining us on this week's Monerotopia episode. We stream live shows every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can find and subscribe to our show on YouTube and ODYSEE, or listen to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or join us in the Monerotopia Telegram group. See you all next week.
How you doing, Slave Blocker?